rainy evening in Jamaica, New York. Redmond Field is a artificial turf surface, so that should be good in terms of no giant puddles and perhaps no mud, but it will be slick. There's the referee, Lawrence Kukaka, who is throwing up the coin, and the St. John's Redmen have won the toss, and the Redmen have deferred their choice to the second half, and now we'll see what the Pace setters want to do for the first half of play. Lawrence Kukaka from Port Jefferson, New York, veteran referee. Now the setters of Pace will take the football to begin the game. The Redmen will have the choice in the second half of play. Weather conditions, well, it's 49 degrees. I'd call it rainy and chilly. Winds 10 to 15 miles per hour, and those are not nice numbers when you're a passing football team. Pace against St. John's. We'll come back with the opening kickoff after these messages.
I wonder if I can get a call.
Oh, I wonder if they'll give me a vacation loan.
Join the Apple Bank family and you'll never have to wonder if you can meet your financial needs. You'll get a personal family banker, free, no bounce checking, and more. Join the Apple Bank family and feel good about banking again. Come in or call Apple Bank for savings. We're good for you.
I'm really proud of Iona. It's a great school.
At Iona College, personal teaching is the tradition.
Small classes, fully qualified faculty, and no teaching.
Head linesman Alfred Lucia, line judge Alan Laria, field judge is Neil Ortner, the back judge is Robert Phillips. The clock operator is Alfred Jacklin. Pace setters will receive the football. They come into tonight's game with a record of 2-3. They are 0-2 in the Liberty Conference. Redmond of St. John's 2-2 overall, 2-1 in the conference.
St. John's looking to put some pressure on Pace from the early going, making Pace take the football first. Quarterback Joe Stagliano has thrown for 937 yards this year, but he's been picked off 15 times, and St. John's will turn to their defense to maybe get things going for them.
Back deep for the centers of Pace. Number 1 is Mark Hansen, and number 43 is Dylan Patterson. And kicking off for the Redmond of St. John's, Anthony Tricario, who set a school record 1 week ago against Fordham with a 47-yard field goal. He's got a good foot. That we're underway. Short kick. It will be Patterson at the 12, 20, 25, and Patterson out to the 29-yard line, where the centers will put it in play, 1st and 10. So the Pace offense capable of putting a lot of points on the board, and they are led by their senior signal caller, Joe Stagliano. Starting in the backfield, Doug Sweeney, and the fullback is Rich Andrzejewski. Alfonso Scott, Mark Hansen, dangerous wideouts. Offensive line, the big man there, number 77, right tackle, Brian Peters, a returning second-team All-Liberty Conference performer. 1st and 10 for Stagliano and company from the 30. Now the give us to Phil Capra in the ball game. So Capra getting the start. He gets 8 or 9 yards on the play. John Krug made the stop for the Redmen. So Capra, a junior from Brewster, New York, getting the starting assignment. Doug Sweeney a little bit shaken up with bruised ribs and may not play all that much. Here's the St. John's defensive front. They play a 4-4. Holland played very well last week. So did Majewski at linebacker. And the deep backs for the Redmen led by Matt Grimaldi, who we talked about in the open. On 2nd down and 2, the give is to Capra. He is stacked up immediately. Good pop by Kevin Holland and Pete Majewski. And a loss of a couple on the play. It will bring up 3rd down at about 4. Pace coaching staff said during the week that they wanted to try to establish the run. They said they're trying to maybe run to the outside a bit. Right now they're running off tackle. And of course they'd like to run to the right side with Brian Peters because he's so effective at that right tackle position. We'll watch him. Wide to the right, Mark Hansen. Wide left, Alfonso Scott playing with a severely injured left ankle. Stagliano calling signals. Here's the pitch to Capra. He is stacked up for a loss. And it means bunting time for the setters. Chuck Mackey made the stop for the Redmen. So after a good gain on 1st down, they went nowhere but back.
Patrick Dunnigan turned up the heat on the inside as well, and he got help from Mackey. St. John's has to snuff out that run. They weren't that effective last week.
Matt Dunnigan, big number 73, 5'11", 240, a senior and a tri-captain. Dropping back in punt formation is Dan Esau, who's averaging almost 38 yards per punt for Pace, having a terrific year. And he fumbles the football, gets it back, and gets it off luckily. And it bounces at the St. John's 45, will roll dead just inside the 40. It could have been disaster for punter Dan Esau, but he kept his cool and got the punt off. 26 yards, but that's really not important. It wasn't blocked.
There's so many things you take for granted in a football game. The snap from center to the quarterback, the long snap for place kicks, and also for punts. On a wet night like this, the football gets very slippery, and they're going to have to concentrate.
There's the Redmond offense. Quarterback Scott Cesny, the key, along with wideout Dennis McDermott. There's that front group led by Jim Burns, the center. 1st and 10 for the Redmond at the 39-yard line. And the give to John Cosenza straight up the middle. He gets a couple of yards on the play. Cosenza had a pretty good football game last week against Fordham, picking up 38 yards on one individual rush as you look at the Pace defense. T.J. Malscott, the defensive tackle, 76, a key there. As far as the linebackers go, we talked about Dan McKenna, but he gets pretty good help from Pat Fawcett and Don Dignan. And the D-backs, Mike O'Gall, Peter Frank, Cliff Dirks, and Mike Watuzik. 2nd down and 8 for the Redmen. And the pitch to Cosenza, he doesn't get much off the right side, so he did a lot of talking about passing, but thus far, exclusive activity on the ground.
But Bruce, look for these teams to open things up. Both teams have had trouble running the football on the ground. St. John's has really had a lot of trouble. They're trying it out early now, but they'll go to that passing game very shortly because so far it has not been effective.
So it is 3rd down and call it 7. Dennis McDermott comes wide to the left. He's the big play receiver for the Redmen. Wide to the right, Dennis Motherway. Here's Cesny looking for his first pass. Cesny throws. It's caught by McDermott. Flag is down on the play, and the pass was caught out of bounds. And a flag thrown in the St. John's backfield, and the initial indication against the Redmen.
That's where Cesny's at his best, when he's rolling out, improvising, getting McDermott to run those square outs, but he needs the blocking as well.
Flag is against the Redmen. Ineligible receiver downfield. And the referee, Lawrence Kukaka, talking to the Pace captain, Danny McKenna, senior from Thornwood, New York, who led the club in tackles last year and is doing so again this year. And he'll probably decline the penalty here. And that's what he will do. And the Redmen will be punting it away on 4th down.
That time Cesny rolling out, pumped the football once, and at that point his line overreacted and causing the penalty. Have to get rid of it a bit quicker.
Mark Hansen drops back. He's the single deep man at the 20. And in punt formation is Anthony Tricario for the Redmen. Pressure, but Tricario hits a beauty. And he sends the man back to the 15, fumbled by Hansen, and he recovers the ball at the 13. So there's a timeout with 11:28 to go in the first quarter of play. No score between the Redmen of St. John's and the Centers of Pace University.
On Amtrak's Metroliner service, you can spread out over breakfast. The air shuttle encourages closer working relationships. On Metroliner service, you can have a private conversation.
John.
The plane, however, offers conference calls. On Amtrak's Metroliner service, you can travel first class. On the air shuttle, everyone gets treated equally.
All aboard, Amtrak, all aboard.
Up, way up. That's what's been happening to cable viewership. At the same time, guess what's happened to network viewership? And the majority of those lost network ratings have gone directly to cable. Over 120 million viewers have found cable, and there's a simple way for advertisers to find them. Plug into the power of cable. America is cable ready.
Welcome back to Redmond Field. No score, first quarter of play. It will be 2nd and 10 for the Pace Centers on the first down. Joe Stagliano's pass to Alfonso Scott went incomplete. so each ball club still looking for a first down.
Well, we see Pace now going with the deep route. They're going to start going to their passing game. Both teams tried to run in their first possessions. They did nothing. They're going to go back to what they're comfortable with.
Joe Stagliano, the senior from Hawthorne, New York, a transfer from Trinity College, gives the handoff to Andrzejewski, and Rich picks up maybe a couple of yards. Tackle made by Chris Farrell, and also Pete Majewski, who was a busy customer last week.
That play kind of moved in slow motion. Just did not get moving. The hole was there early, but the handoff from the quarterback to the back, and they just delayed, and he just didn't hit the hole quick. He's coming off a knee injury. He was injured on artificial turf last season, and they're looking for that quickness to come back. They have to hit those holes quicker, and that's why they've struggled on the ground.
Scott goes wide to the left, Mark Hansen wide right, out of the I formation. Stagliano swings it out, complete to Capra, looking to turn upfield, gets 4 or 5 yards, and that's all. Kevin Holland dropping back to make the tackle. He was an All-Liberty Conference tight end last year, was Holland. This year has been moved to defensive end, and it's paid off for Coach Bob Ricca.
Somewhat conservative play here, throwing backward and really not going downfield, and the defense covered up well. The pursuit was good, and they read the play from the secondary. Grimaldi and company coming in, as did Holland.
So it's 4th down, and into punt is Dan Issa, standing back at the 2-yard line. Remember, a forced snap the first time. This one is good, and Issa gets it away. And a fair catch is called at the 44-yard line of Pace by Julio Teo, and the Redmen with excellent field position in their second offensive series coming up. Well, this is the 11th meeting between these two schools. St. John's leads the rivalry 6-4. Last year it was Pace at Pace, 27-22. But Bob, the 2 years before that, 1-point game. St. John's winning 16-15, and St. John's winning 15-14.
Well, these two schools go at each other, an intense rivalry. St. John's will put the football up in the air here, and they will try to move that football now. Look for McDermott to try to get open. Also look for the tight end Bobby Thompson, who's had a pretty good season thus far, to try to get out on some short routes underneath.
A legal blocker downfield, 5 more yards to the Redmond. They will begin 1st and 10 at the 39-yard line of Pace. Full house backfield. And the pitch goes to Cosenza. Finds some running room. And he picks up 5 hard yards. John Hankey came up to make the tackle. That's the kind of play St. John's been looking for all year. Yardage and first down and on the ground.
And running over that left side, Joe O'Connell and Anthony Capek blowing out some people. Cosenza just picking his way through. Not all that quick, but he's looking for the hole, running with his head up, and that's important.
2nd down and 5. Again out of the power eye. 2 tight ends in the football game. Chesney with a long count. Jack Cosenza fumbles the football and has to bounce on it back at the 38-yard line. So he lost most of the yardage he picked up on first down, and it brings up a 3rd down and 9.
Bruce, there's a potent mix on the football field here tonight. 2 teams that have turned the football over a lot lately, and also weather conditions. It is still raining here at Redmond Field, and you're playing with a very slick pigskin, and they have to protect the football because that's going to have a key factor in this game, turnovers.
Dennis McDermott wide to the left side of the field. He's caught 28 already this year. Dennis Motherway wide right. Here's Chesney to throw. Has time. Chesney fires. It's incomplete. He tried to pick off a secondary receiver. It was John Cosenza, but back in coverage for the Pace Centers was number 41, Cliff Dirks. And so the Redmond with good field position, Bob, but unable to move it.
We'll give credit to Pace that time. They double covered McDermott on the left side. Hankey was back there deep, and there was no way McDermott was going to be able to get open.
Tricario into punt. And another very good punt. Tuzik watches it bounce at the 5. It takes a St. John's bounce, and it will die inside the 5-yard line. So the Redmen having the Pace Centers deep in their own end. Mike Cunningham, the man who made the play for St. John's, inside the 5. A 33-yard punt. But the numbers, again, not significant because he's pinning the Pace Centers deep in the end. No score. Opening quarter of play from Redmond Field. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Hi, this is Mike Clark for Viacom's TV6 and the high school game of the week. If you missed last week's game at Patchogue Medford High School, you missed the big homecoming game between Longwood and Patchogue Medford. You saw floats, kings and queens, and even some surprises. Join us next week as Sachem takes on Connecticut.
Getting a home equity loan from Astoria Federal was a great move. We paid Jeff's tuition, bought my husband Tom a new car, and we get a tax break we wouldn't get if we'd refinanced.
Get this special introductory rate with an Astoria Federal home equity loan. Call for details.
With our Astoria Federal home equity loan, we even bought a little something for me.
Astoria Federal, right where it counts.
Cablecast rights to this game are the property of the Liberty Football Conference. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without written consent is prohibited. The announcers on this telecast have been hired and are paid by the Liberty Football Conference. Pace beginning deep in their own end at their 3-yard line, 1st and 10. Stagliano drops back, going to the outside to Alfonso Scott, and it's incomplete. Back in coverage with Steve Neves. Not a bad idea.
Scott's ankle looks pretty good. Coming in, he had the questionable ankle. It was sore, but that time he just ran a fly down the sideline. Neves was there step for step, but Scott got past him. And if the throw was a little bit shorter, he would have been able to run under that football, but not bad. Pace has had some pretty poor field position in this first quarter.
2nd down and 10, out of the eye. Now in motion goes Capra. Stagliano rolling out. Throw is incomplete, intended for Phil Capra. And Stagliano a little upset with himself. The receiver was there, but he underthrew him. Matt Grimaldi back on the coverage for St. John's.
They need more consistency out of their quarterback. We've talked about the turnovers, but it's also the simple plays like that. A sure rolled out, you have the receiver open, you have to move the football. You know, Pace has started the football on their own 29, 14, and now 4-yard line. They're trying to get out of this end zone and move the ball upfield a bit.
Stagliano said yesterday that he needs one real good game to get clicking. 3rd down. It's complete, close to a 1st down. It's caught by John Perez. Might be a little bit short, depends where they mark it. Mike Cunningham, Rich Colangelo in the stop for the Redmen. We'll see where they spot the football. The 1st down marker close to the 15, and it looks like they're short.
Bruce, it's important that that pass was completed, even if they don't have a 1st down, which it appears that they don't. To get away from their end zone, give their kicker a little room. They've had some trouble on the snap between the punter and the center.
Julio Teo dropping back deep for the Redmen on 4th down and 1 as Pace goes into punt formation. There's Dan Issa. 3rd punt of the night for Dan. Issa hits it high, not deep. Fair catch called for by Teo at the 48-yard line of Pace. 34-yard punt, and again the Redmen with the field position here in the first quarter.
Well, Bruce, you know, we talked about the hands being slippery and the uniform jerseys being slippery, but it's also tough when you're running around or catching a punt looking up into this rain because it is raining hard. Bob Ricker trying to unleash his offense here and get something going. They've tried to move the ball on the ground. That has been an Achilles heel for St. John's all season. And Cesny trying to roll out and find McDermott. He's the guy. They have to get that thing clicking.
Cesny straight drop back and 1st down. Rolling out of the pocket, he'll keep it. He's to the Pace 45. He's not going to bounce. It might be a late hit, and it is at the 43-yard line. Danny McKenna came over to make the pop, and the referee, Lawrence Kukaka, quickly threw the flag because Cesny was clearly out of bounds. And this will be an additional 15.
And Dan McKenna just running across. He gets pushed from behind. He gets pushed, and he continues on his pursuit, and he sees Cesny, and he just knocks him out of bounds. And not a smart play by a senior leader in Dan McKenna, the all-time leading tackler in Pace history, has 64 coming in. And in a situation like this where St. John's has had such great field position to start with, you don't want to tap on extra yardage.
And I believe that Kukaka will mark this one off against Fawcett because he was the one that really hit him hard out of bounds after the play. So they move the football 15 more yards down to the 27. And the Redmond of St. John's now in field position that they like chance to get into the end zone here in the opening quarter of play. No score, 7:09 to go. Double tight end set for the Redmen. Out of the power eye. Hand off Cosenza. Cosenza bouncing to the outside, and he gets to the 21-yard line. Peter Frank made the stop. John Hankey was the guy who slowed him down, but Cosenza, good upper body strength, kept going. Coach Bob Rooker throwing in the power eye. St. John's usually running out of a pro formation, but they go to this power eye because they have not moved the football on the ground. They need some extra blocking. Cosenza with the football on the outside, a smart play in carrying it, and now St. John's is even closer. Bruce, a play St. John's likes to run when they get in the red zone. That's between the 20 and the goal line, is a post pattern, breaking it out to the outside. Second down and 4. Here there's the game. Flag is down as Cosenza carries to the outside, close to first down yardage. Peter Frank on the stop. Flag against St. John's, and they'll mark this one off. 5 yards against the Redmen because Cosenza was close to the first down. They'll call over the captain, Dan McKenna, the defensive captain, and it looked like possible motion on St. John's. We'll wait for the official call, but it is a penalty against the Redmen. Illegal motion to call. And now it is second down and 9. Power eye again employed by the Redmen, going with a tight set. Pitches to Cosenza. Straight up the middle. It's 4 or 5 hard-earned yards. And it'll bring up a third down at about 3. We mentioned Cosenza just picking the holes. Here's Dan McKenna working the middle, is hit hard on the play, just driven out of the play. Good leg drive that time, and that's what you want when you're blocking one of the top linebackers. And good play by center Jim Burns, firing off the football and just taking Dan McKenna out of the play, letting Cosenza pick his way through. Not blazing speed, but a smart runner. Watch McDermott here, number 26. He's to the near side of the football field. Back to pass to Chesney. Chesney looks, he throws the other way, it's incomplete. Through the hands of Paul Radulski. And it brings up a fourth down. Now this is definitely field goal range for Tricario, but the question becomes, how is the ball put down? How is his planting of the foot? Because it is a wet night, and this is much more difficult for a kicker. It'll be a 38-yard attempt. Well within his range. He kicked one from 47 last year. He is 3 for 7 on the season in the field goal department. Ball is placed down and is up. He's got the height and the distance. And it is good. So Tricario, with pressure coming from all sides, kicks a beauty, and the Redmen are on the scoreboard first. So with 5:33 to go in this first quarter of play, St. John's leads it by a score of 3-0. We'll be back after these messages. And here we go. Yes! Tremendous play.
Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Rangers.
Here we go. All right. The Rangers win.
It's the home opener. Watch the Rangers battle the rival Devils. It all starts with Sports Desk and then game night Monday at 7. The sights and sounds.
Back at Redmond Field, where St. John's has opened up a 3-0 lead in this first quarter of play, and a 38-yard field goal by Anthony Tricario. And a key man in there, Bob Papa, was the holder.
That's right. The quarterback, John Cosenza, the quarterback, Scott Cesney, came into that situation and was holding on the placement, and he put on gloves, and that's a key factor. You have to catch the football and get it down, and in this wet condition, that's very important, something that may go unnoticed at times, but you need it in the execution of the play.
What about Tricario? Last week we saw him miss one from close to 50, and it was definitely far enough, but just wide. It's got some foot. Tricario's kickoff is down at the 6-yard line, handled there by Dylan Patterson. He's to the 20, and that is all. He is gang tackled. A wave of red shirts at the 20. So once again, Pace will not have good field position.
Matt Grimaldi came storming down the field and broke up that wedge to come in with the hit. And also John Krug. They play in the secondary for St. John's, also on the kickoff team, and they came downfield and they put a stop to that run.
Pace from Pleasantville, New York, an outstanding business and accounting school. They have 3 campuses, one in New York City, one also in White Plains. On 1st and 10, the handoff is to Capra. And he barrels up the middle for 3 yards. Mike Cunningham in on the stop. And also in that tackle was Steve Neves. It brings up a 2nd down and 6.
First, a few times that Pace has had success on the ground, they've run to the right side. Running to the left, they've had some trouble, and they're trying to just open things up for their passing game a little bit, see if they get their tight ends involved.
Joe Stagliano sends Mark Hansen wide to the left, Scott wide to the other side of the field. Hand off straight ahead to Capra, and he is stopped quickly. Good pursuit by Pat Dunnigan and Rich Colangelo. Colangelo, who was a sophomore from Staten Island, had 10 tackles last week against Fordham.
Very aggressive unit, the St. John's defense is. They pursue all over the football field. A lot of times teams will try to run counters against them because sometimes they do over-pursuit.
Scott wide left, Hansen wide right on 3rd down and 6 from the Pace 24. In motion goes Jesus Baby. Quick toss, incomplete. Stagliano looking for Andrzejewski. Majewski on the coverage, and thus far, Pace unable to click in the air, just 1 for 5 for 9 yards.
Well, you can't blame Stagliano that time. Harry Blair, a senior defensive end, was charging in at him from St. John's, and it forced Stagliano to rush that pass, and he had to just get rid of it or else he would have been sacked. And St. John's will get good field position again, Bruce.
Dan Issa, 4th punt of the night. 2 have been short. Julio Teo back deep for the Redmen. It'll bounce at the 45. It takes a St. John's bounce and a big bounce. It goes back to the 35-yard line. The ball eluded Joe Carlos, who wanted to down it, but he went down himself, slipped on the turf. And so St. John's on the 12-yard punt will take over at the 36-yard line of Pace. Bob, with all these opportunities, if St. John's doesn't get a lot of points now, then it may come back to haunt them later.
That's right. Pace can consider themselves fortunate. They're down by just 3 points. By the way, St. John's has had these great offensive opportunities.
So the Redmen, again with excellent field position at the Pace 36, out of the power I. Scott Cesny leads out the Redmen. Cesny, play action pass, in trouble, running out of the pocket, throws complete, first down, and it's number 85, Bobby Thompson, the tight end, who pulled it in, and he had a terrific ball game with 6 catches last week against Fordham.
Funny because Cesny on the play action to Cosenza was looking to throw to him over the middle, but Cosenza was blocked out by an official. Cesny had to tuck it away, roll out, and he makes a catch to the right side. But what happened was Thompson didn't get his foot down, and they call it out.
So we'll come back, and it will be an incompleted pass. Looked pretty, but that was about it. 2nd down and 10.
More double coverage on McDermott on the left side.
Cesny, straight drop back. Pressured, gets the pass away. It is complete to Anthony Sansata. Pickup of maybe 3 yards in the play. The tackle made by Carl Glazer.
Well, here comes John Jordan. He comes running right in the face of Cesny, not giving the left-handed quarterback any time. He had to just unload the football, and a nice grab that time on a difficult play.
Jordan led the club in sacks last year with 7. This year he has 2. We saw young Anthony Sansata getting some words of encouragement on the sideline. Redmond with a 3rd and 7. Cesny steps in the pocket, looks, throws it incomplete to through the hands of Manny DeSantis, who is still coming back from the ankle injury from last week. And Szczesny is now 1 for 6. And the Redmen, will they punt it here or try a field goal? They might try a field goal. The same person does both, Anthony Tricario.
What a leg he has.
He's going to try it, Bob, from 41. That would be a 51-yard field goal attempt.
John Cosenza is now into hold for Tricario, and he's got gloves on as well.
So it's a 51-yard attempt. This would be a school record. His long is 47. The kick is down, and this one is not hit well at all. It is low to the left and far short. And so the lead will remain 3-zip, and Tricario comes off the field shaking his head a little bit. I don't think he hit it at all the way he wanted to.
No, the snap was good. The placement was also good by Cosenza, and Tricario just did not get a good piece of the football. Hit it kind of on the top side, and it causes it to knuckle toward the goalpost instead of going an end-over-end type rotation.
So Pace with their best field position of the game. 3:09 to go, first quarter. St. John's leading 3-0. Stagliano on first down, pitches to Phil Capra. Hit hard as he picks up a couple of yards. Majewski and Cunningham in on the stop.
And right now the St. John's linebackers and the defensive line are just overpowering Pace. St. John's is a little bit bigger, and guys like Majewski are throwing blockers aside, and the running backs are not hitting the holes fast enough. The plays aren't developing quick enough. They're going to have to try some traps, some mixed directions, some quick slants to try to loosen up the St. John's defense.
Majewski really pops. Second down and 8 off the 2-yard pickup. Stagliano pitches back to Capra, looking for an option pass. He's in trouble, though, and he goes down. And you want to talk about pursuit from the lineman, Kenny Cobb, 6 foot 235, snuffed the play out. And then the big tackle showed terrific pursuit in corralling the running back.
Kenny Cobb is having a fine season playing the nose guard position for St. John's. You know, that play developed nicely, but the offensive lineman on the left side kind of gave up on the play because they had Scott in a one-on-one coverage on the left side. He had a step by his man, but the ball just could not be released.
So a loss of the play brings the football back to the 29. It is third down and 14 for the Setters. Stagliano rolling right. Stagliano fires, intercepted. Picked off by number 17, John Crew. He had one last week, has one this week. And St. John's in business once again.
Well, Crew, who joined the starting lineup last week against Fordham, and played a solid game, just rubbed the quarterback's eye. Stagliano's rolling to his right, trying to buy some time because the pressure has been heavy on him, but he doesn't set himself, and he throws into double coverage there, and a great play by Krug. He just read his eyes and anticipated. That's what you have to do in the secondary. And Krug just steps right in front of the receiver. Grimaldi knocks the receiver down, and there you have your interception.
First down, Redmond at the 30-yard line. The pitch is to DeSantis. He tries to get to the outside. He is run down by the duo of McKenna and Dirks.
Took him 30 yards to get one. No developing play, but you have to give credit there to the defense because McKenna and company string it out. When a team is running wide, you want to string it out, and the sideline becomes your ally. This way you can force a guy out of bounds, and it takes the play a longer time to develop. That's the way you draw it up from a defensive point of view.
A minute 17 to go. First quarter of play. St. John's leading Pace 3-0. Second down and 9. Szczesny drops back, going to the outside. It's incomplete. Looking for Bobby Thompson as tight end, but there was good double coverage on the play as Don Dignan dropped back along with John Hankey.
And Peter Frank not biting in the situation like this.
Well, so far in this football game, we expected a lot of passes. There have been some passes, but not many completed, just 2 overall, and the weather definitely a factor.
The weather has been a factor, and also the offensive lines have not been giving their quarterbacks the protection that they need.
McDermott comes wide to the left, and Szczesny rolls left on third and long. Looking for McDermott. It's underthrown, and it is intercepted at the 1-yard line. Picked off by Mike Watuzik. Watuzik was back there, with Peter Frank, and they kind of knocked into each other, but when Souza comes down with the football, his third interception of the season.
Well, Bruce, they've been covering McDermott like a blanket all night long, double coverage consistently. McDermott runs this pattern where he cuts into the post and then tries to break it outside. The ball was just underthrown, but watch. There's two men right there. There's two men right there, and Frank was able to come back if Fortusa couldn't get that football.
So under a minute to go in the first quarter, and it is Pace starting out from their own one. Straight up the middle goes Capra, trying to buy quarterback Stagliano some room, but Majewski made the big pop on the play. And also in on the tackle was Greg Sacchinoci. Second down and 8. Guess it is tough to gamble here, but wouldn't it be something?
They may have to because they just have not moved the ball on the ground. Maybe some ball control, looking for a tight end in a situation like this.
The tailback Capra is 5 yards deep in the end zone. Stagliano audibleizing. Quick drop. Throws to the outside. It's incomplete. Pass intended for Mark Hansen. Matt Grimaldi in the coverage. A good pickup by the quarterback Stagliano.
Well, a good game that Stagliano was looking to have is not developing just yet. You're throwing a quick out like that. You have to get the ball in a vicinity where your receiver can catch the football. Hansen had to dive wildly. You have to be able to keep possession of the football and just move it out of this area because they've had trouble with the snap from center on punts.
10 seconds to go in the opening quarter of play. Third down and 8 for Pace at the 3. Out of the I formation. Stagliano hands to the inside. It's Andrzejewski, and he barely gets out of the end zone. He is stopped at the 1-yard line. And down on the bottom of that pile is Pat Dunnigan, the tri-captain for St. John's.
Ken Cobb also gets his nose in, Bruce.
And that is the end of the first quarter of play at Redmond Field on the campus of St. John's University. The score, St. John's 3, Pace nothing. We'll be back after these messages.
I wonder if I can get a combo.
Oh, I wonder if they'll give me a vacation loan.
Join the Apple Bank family and you'll never have to wonder if you can meet your financial needs. You'll get a personal family banker, free, no-bounce checking, and more. Join the Apple Bank family and feel good about banking again. Come in or call Apple Bank for savings. We're good for you.
The greatest city in the world. What better place for a university? A university with the largest college of pharmacy and one of the top law schools in the country. With nationally accredited colleges of business and affordable tuition. The least expensive of any private university in New York State. Yes, the city is New York. The university is St. John's.
At Pace University, a good education is about more than theories. It's about living in the real world. The world of law, business, the arts, healthcare. Pace offers a broad range of undergraduate and graduate courses with campuses in Manhattan and Westchester. You'll find direction at Pace University. So wherever you want to go in life, you can get there from here. Call 1-800-TRY-PACE.
What can you expect when you invest at Schwab? Ask a Schwab customer.
I'm looking for quick response and accuracy. I call Schwab and often get my market orders confirmed while I'm still on the phone. I like the fact that there's no sales pressure. For me, Schwab simply delivers good service, good value.
For a free booklet, call 800-348-2900. That's 800-348-2900.
Welcome back to Redmond Field. The first quarter we thought had officially come to a close, but we've been informed from the field that there are 2 seconds remaining on the clock. So right now they are resetting the scoreboard that is now at 13. They're running it down to 2, and that's where they will stop it. So it will be 4th down and 9 for Pace, punting from deep in their own end zone. And this should be the final play of the first quarter. There we are, down to 2 seconds. And this will be a difficult punt for Dan Issa, his 5th of the day. His first was 26 yards, second 27, third 34, and the last one was 12. His back right foot right against the edge of the end zone. He gets it away. And it takes a Pace bounce this time. And under the circumstances, not a bad punch. It goes dead at the 36-yard line, so a 35-yard punt by Issa. And now that's the official end of the first quarter of play. And there's the official score. St. John's 3, Pace nothing. The only scoring, the 38-yard field goal by Anthony Tricario. Liberty Conference football action is being brought to you by Apple Bank, offering quality service at locations throughout the greater New York area. Apple Bank for savings. We're good for you. So not much offense in the first quarter of play. Neither quarterback able to get anything going, Bob Papa.
Well, rain has been falling from the outset of this contest, and you have to give some credit to the secondaries. I wouldn't blame this all on the weather conditions right now. There's been good play in the secondary on both teams, double covering the key receivers here, and there's been good pressure by the defensive lines not enabling the quarterbacks to set up and throw the football down the field. St. John's has had a little bit more of a ground attack with John Cosenza, and that's been the difference. He helped set up that field goal.
In the Liberty Conference, Fordham is on top of the record of 2-0. They share the perch with C.W. Post, also 2-0, and St. John's 2-1, very much in the hunt. Stony Brook 1-1, Merchant Marine 1-2, and Iona and Pace 0-2. First quarter statistics, and the weather definitely a part of those numbers.
Passing yardage, who would have expected after one quarter, 9-3.
We talked about offense, it's been defense thus far. Sesney from the 36, the Redmond with the football. Hand off to Manny DeSantis, straight up the middle. Gets maybe 2 or 3 yards in the play. Mark Scribola made the tackle. Scribola very tough, 240 pounds. Second team All-Liberty Conference 1 year ago.
Part of the weightlifting group on that defensive line, along with T.J. Malstadt. Those guys like to bolt up and pump some iron. Big and strong, and also quick.
McKenna is some football player. Very good in getting to the football. Very intense. Second down and 7. Wide to the right to Bayes. Hands off to DeSantis. And he goes absolutely nowhere. Tackled at the 35-yard line. And it was Dan McKenna again in on the tackle. And he is usually around the football.
McKenna barking out the defensive signals, runs with his head up, reading the eyes of the quarterback. Now he pivots, and he squares off with the back. That's what you have to do. Square the shoulders, get an angle on him, and then he just drives him to the turf. Just too strong.
Coach George Mayer says that McKenna could be an All-America, runs the 40 in about 4.7, which isn't bad for 230 pounds. He also benches 375. Third down and 8 from the shotgun. Chesney to throw. 5 receivers out. Chesney fires across the middle, complete. So McDermott for a first down at the 20-yard line. John Hankey in on the stop. And there's the biggest pickup of the football game.
Well, Bob Rick is very innovative when it comes to the passing game. In order to free up McDermott a bit, he had Cosenza run out to the left side and get away from the double coverage. You see Cosenza coming out of the backfield, and that splits things open, and McDermott just runs right across the field and is able to break into a seam of that defense, but it looks like this play is going to go back, Bruce, because we saw a yellow hanky.
An ineligible receiver downfield. Chesney flooded 4 or 5 receivers out there, but apparently one of the linemen got out there, and it looks like this one will come back. Here's your referee, Lawrence Kukaka. He'll give us the official word against the Redmen, and it will come back. So they'll spot the football now at the 39-yard line.
The last thing you want is a lineman to go downfield in a situation like that. You have enough receivers on the field as is, and there's so many blocking assignments necessary because Pace has gotten a good pass rush against Chesney.
So it is third down and 14. Chesney rolling out. Hands to DeSantis on a draw play. He gets to the 35-yard line. Eric Williams made the stop. And it brings up a 4th down and long. And this time, Tricario will punt instead of try a field goal. Get down there, Cruz! Get down there, Cruz! Okay, defense. Mark Hansen waits for the football back at the 10-yard line. Tricario going for the corner. Down at the 5, very close to the 1-yard line. We'll have to see if they spot it at the 1, or they say that Krug went into the end zone with the football. It is being spotted at the 1-yard line. So once again, Pace will have to start from way down on the goal line. Well, we'll wait for the officials to confer, and we'll see what our referee has to say, Lawrence Kukaka. A couple of controversial plays so far in this game. Krug avoided a blocker to get down there. Made a nice play to get down there, but then he seemed to have lost track of the football a bit. Took a funny hop on the turf. And it will be a touchback. So they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. That's where Pace will start out. 1st and 10 with 12:37 to go in the second quarter of play. St. John's leading it by a score of 3-0. We'll be back in just a moment.
This fall, Europe will be easier to see than ever, thanks to fewer crowds and Pan Am's amazingly low Eurosaver fares. You can fly to London for as little as $398 round trip. With fares as low as these, tickets may be non-refundable, have varying effective dates, and are not available on all flights. Other significant restrictions apply. With Pan Am's Eurosavers, you couldn't pick a better time to see Europe. Pan Am, the #1 airline to Europe.
Challenge. Steffi Graf is on top of the tennis world. She'll face the challenges of Martina Navratilova, Chris Evert, and Gabriela Sabatini as they lead the top 16 players in the $1 million Virginia Slims Championships, presented by General Foods International Coffee. It's the richest, best attended event in women's tennis at Madison Square Garden, November 14th through the 20th. Tickets are on sale at the Madison Square Garden box office and all Ticketmaster locations. The Virginia Slims Championships, the challenge.
Bruce Beck and Bob Papa back at Redmond Field, Division III College Football, Liberty Conference, and St. John's leads Pace 3-0. The Setters with the football, 1st and 10 from their own 20, as they ruled that ball went into the end zone, and on the touchback it came out. On 1st down, a quick pass by Stagliano looking for Hansen, but it's incomplete. Grimaldi on the coverage, and what Stagliano needs is one good completion here to get his confidence. And the thing is, when you have a player like Alfonso Scott who can burn, if you get one, and it's a big one, you can get 6 points. Well, that time Stagliano, not all the fault there. He threw it on the out, not a bad throw. That time Hansen, as he's making his break, just kind of slipped, and he lost his footing a bit, and you have another incompletion. 2nd down and 10. In motion goes Navy. Stagliano on the delay, throws the pass, it's incomplete. Andrzejewski, I think, was trying to run. Before he caught the football, he was thinking too much, and the ball was dropped. Well, he got caught flat-footed there, Bruce. He went out on his pattern, and he kind of just stood flat instead of, bouncing on your toes. And the pass was also a little bit high, and it was thrown fairly hard, rifled over the middle, and he just reached up with one hand and couldn't bring it in. Yeah, I think you heard Majewski very close, and Majewski can pop. And Majewski's been around the football all night so far. He's the best hitter on St. John's. 3rd and 10, flag down on the play. Motion on that line. Offensive. Looks like Mark Filipponi is the culprit there, the left tackle. Kind of set and then moved over. And he was whistling for the violation, 5 yards. So now it is 3rd and 15. Pace has had the ball outside their 30 only once in this ball game. Wide to the left, Alfonso Scott. Wide right, Mark Hansen. Rolling right is Stagliano. Stagliano looks across the middle. He throws it incomplete. And guess who? Pete Majewski almost intercepted the pigskin. Stagliano just trying to give himself some time, rolling out a bit. And he was looking for maybe Scott to cut back from the left side. He did not. And he just threw it in a bunch of traffic, and Majewski had one, and he'll want that one back tonight. 4th down. Dan Issa into punt. Julio Teo drops back deep for the Redmen, along with John Cosenza.
They'll get more good field position, Bruce.
Issa hits it at about the 7. It's a high, good punt. Handled by the Redmen. Fumble, and the loose football picked up by Pace at the 43-yard line. So the Senators are in business on the fumble by the Redmen.
Ed Lucas came up with the football. At that time, Conway not using good decision. You know, the ground is so wet. And the way things have been going tonight, tough to keep onto the football. And Frank LaPolita was the man who hit him, number 55. He comes in, they butt heads right at about the 45-yard line. Then he spins and he's hit once again. And Thad Pinkham hit him. And then Ed Lucas picked up the loose football.
And Kevin Conway, the man who fumbled it for the Redmen, first down, option pass possibly. The look to the outside, it's incomplete. And the throw was made by Phil Capper, the tailback, but it never was set up well. And it brings up a second down and 10. So there's a first big break for Pace. They get the field position they've been looking for all night long.
This may give their quarterback some time to loosen up, Stagliano. He has been in such pressure running an offense from the goal line with not much of a ground attack. Now he has some room to work with.
And he's got Alfonso Scott in single coverage with Steve Meade. He's got to get Alfonso to the action. Stagliano's back to throw. Fire to the outside. It's caught by Alfonso Scott. And he tiptoes his way down to the 33-yard line for a first down. Tackle made by Steve Meade. So Scott finally gets into the offense, and he is so dangerous when he catches it.
Watch number 46, Ray Scacchione here. He makes it even tougher for Scott. As the pass was thrown, Scott had to read over his shoulders. The linebacker was covering underneath. Nice catch that time, but a good throw by Scaglione.
So at the 33, the Senators with a first and 10, trailing 3-0. Quick look to the middle is incomplete. Pass intended for Tom Cassidy. And the ball looks like it might have been deflected. Mike Cunningham and Kenny Cobb were close to the football for the Redmen.
St. John's defense is so strong and so active. I like what Pace did that time as Bob Ricker tries to get his defense to tighten up here. Pace has good field position. But that time what Pace did was run a quick count. And that counterbalances some of the passing attack that St. John's has, some of that pressure they put on. Let's see if they work the wide side of the field here, Bruce.
Delayed handoff to Capra. And Capra gets to the 28-yard line. Tackle made by Scacchinoci. And also in the stop, Kenny Cobb. And Majewski. Let's watch him.
You're Pete Majewski right now. Watch him just try to fend off some blockers and tries to knock a man out and get in on the hit, but he was roadblocked nicely that time. Coming in to hit him was Brian Pierce, but Majewski's had a fine evening thus far.
Third down, a big third down and 5 for the Pace Setters. Gagliano hands the ball off to Capra. Capra gets 2 or 3, and Majewski all pumped up. He made the stop, and he ignites that defense. Fourth down. Let's see if the Setters will try a field goal here or go for it. It is fourth and about 3.
Look at Majewski. He's something else. Look at him. He's walking around in that huddle, adjusting the face mask. He's a gritty type player. These are the kind of guys that everyone would like to have on their team. He'd probably make the all-Madden team. Just sticks his nose right in there, hits Capra in the middle of the chest. The jersey's hanging out. He's got the pads torn a little bit, and he's trying to fire up his teammates.
So Pace will try a field goal here. Jim Sullivan has come on, number 10. He's one of the kickers along with Scott Plushow, but it will be Sullivan, and this will be a 43-yard attempt, a chance to tie up the ball game. Both Sullivan and Plushow were kicking yesterday in practice, and at one time Sullivan hit one from about 40. This is a little farther. This is from 43. Let's throw the hole. Ball placed down. Sullivan's kick is short, and no good. And St. John's will take over at their own 20-yard line, first and 10.
Pace is having a lot of trouble putting some points on the board. Shut out last week by CW Post, 32-0. And here with a golden opportunity off the fumble recovery, they had the ball in St. John's territory, and they just couldn't move the football long enough. We're at Redmond Field. First night game ever for college football here in Jamaica, New York, on the campus of St. John's University. They're playing on this beautiful turf field that used to be a golf course. Manny Casantis on the draw, and he gets nowhere. He's tripped up at the 25-yard line, and it's T.J. Malstadt who made the stop for the Setters. As you mentioned, the turf, it's omni-turf. It's an artificial surface with a sand base. And for better traction, also a little bit softer than the artificial turf, the AstroTurf that used to be so popular. There's a field like this in Worcester. Georgetown also has a similar type surface. So Bob with some turf knowledge. I mean, Mr. Greenji. Second down and 12 for the Redmen. No flag. Cesny on the draw to Teo. And Julio gets a yard or two. And again, T.J. Malstadt made the stop. Prior to the conclusion of tonight's game, we will be selecting our Apple Bank players of the game. We'll be choosing one player from each team who proves to be most valuable during his play tonight. So we'll be back in touch with you later in the ball game to let you know our Apple Bank players of the game, and I can tell you right now it is wide open, very much so. Anthony Tricario may have the inside track right now. He's put up the only points. Not many first downs either. On third down and 11. Cesny, hand off to the middle. Teo getting 6 or 7 yards, stopped by Don Dignan with some help from McKenna, but not enough for a first down. And so it is punting time for the Redmen. Well, Teo just picking his way through. He's hit the holes fastest out of all the St. John's runners. Gets by, also gets a couple of nice blocks on the inside, and is able to cut it back up the middle for a good gain. Joe O'Connell with a good lead block. Tricario with a beautiful punt. Sending Hanson back near the 35-yard line. He goes nowhere. He is stopped at the 33. And John Krug on the stop along with Michael Robinson. And that's where the Setters will put it in play, 1st and 10. We have 8 minutes, 57 seconds to go in the second quarter of this Liberty Conference football clash. St. John's 3, Pace nothing. Back in a moment.
Getting a home equity loan from Astoria Federal was a great move. We paid Jeff's tuition, bought my husband Tom a new car, and we get a tax break we wouldn't get if we'd refinanced.
Get this special introductory rate with an Astoria Federal home equity loan. Call for details.
With our Astoria Federal home equity loan, he even bought a little something for me.
Astoria Federal, look where it comes.
On Family Guide to Better Living, we're going to show you a new kitchen appliance that can save you hundreds of dollars on your family's food bill. All of the groceries we bought here today, we paid $284 for by buying in bulk. We figured out what we actually would have paid if we bought it in the little packages. It came to $730. Now that's a savings of over 60%. And that's how we're going to take our whitewater rafting trip free with the savings on that.
Shown on Channel 6. Let's begin.
Hi, I'm Louis Reed, coach of the New Jersey Nets. You know, baseball is great, but to me there's nothing like the NBA. So don't miss out. Catch Buck Williams, Chris Hobson, and the rest of my Nets as we battle the best in the NBA exclusively on Sports Channel. Hi, this is Mike Clark for Viacom's TV6 and the High School Game of the Week. If you missed last week's game at Patchogue Medford High School, you missed the big homecoming game between Longwood and Patchogue Medford. You saw floats, kings and queens, and even some surprises. Join us next week as Sachem takes on Connecticut.
Square-outs on that right side, and he's just lost the footing. The field has a crown a couple of feet high, and the water rolls off to the side. So when you're running those side-out patterns, you're more apt to possibly step in a puddle because the water accumulates near the sidelines.
Stagliano's stats this year, not bad, but tonight he is just 2 for 13. Screenplay set up nicely. And it's John Perez. And Perez has a first down. So they threw the screen to the tight end. He gets to the 48-yard line. Rich Colangelo made the stop.
And some good lead blocking. They really set this up nice. Ken Cobb comes in, but Stagliano was the wise one there. And in this play, Neves gets blocked right out of it. A nice hit that time by Frank Lafolita to open it up.
10-yard pickup on the play. First and 10 setters at the 48. Stagliano again audibilizing at the line of scrimmage. Straight give to Capra. Capra tries to get to the corner, but he was stacked up by Steve Neves. And a nice play by Neves. St. John's, remember, won a football game earlier this year against Iona by running back an extra point for a touchdown. It's one of the first times ever in college football. The new rule went into effect this year. And Bob Ricca, the coach of St. John's, said, well, he wasn't really thrilled with the rule, but to win a football game that way, unbelievable.
I saw that game, a wild contest, and Steve Neves was the guy who ran it back for 2 points.
Here's Stagliano rolling out on second down. He has time. He's going deep for Alfonso Scott. And it is knocked down by Matt Grimaldi at the 5-yard line. Scott had him beat. Ball a little underthrown. And Grimaldi quick in recovering.
Stagliano threw that ball some 50 yards in the air, but he threw it late. He's rolling to his right. Right here, he should plant and throw the football, but he rolls a little bit more, and by that time, it gives Grimaldi a chance to recover because Scott was right past him, and the ball was underthrown a bit, but it was a late throw, and Grimaldi with a fine effort.
Good point, because the ball was well thrown. I mean, 50, 55 yards in the air, but the receiver was open early and not late. 3rd and 8 at the 49 of St. John from the shotgun. Stagliano looks across the middle, throws incomplete. Intended for Alfonso Scott. Kevin Holland in on the coverage. Majewski not far from the ball as usual. Was a crossing pattern, well set up.
They couldn't move the football that time, Bruce, but I like the scheme that time that Pace used. They run from the shotgun position a little bit. Give Stagliano some more time. Don't force him to run as much. Let him drop back and just fire the football. It'll give him some confidence. I think that screen helped him a bit.
7th punt of the game for Dan Issa. Kevin Conway back deep, Julio Teo and John Cosenza. Hits this punt high, and Teo taking the football, taking a chance and going down immediately at the 19-yard line. I know that coach Bob Ricca was just holding his eyes on that play because talk about a dangerous play under some difficult conditions. Julio Teo had a lot of guts to even attempt that type of return.
Frank Lafolita once again in on that hit on the punt coverage. He lowers his head and he just lets it go. And I'm sure Bob Ricca is not only holding his breath but not that happy that they're trying to run back those punts in these kind of conditions.
1st and 10 Redmen at their own 20. They lead 3-0. 6:46, second quarter of play. Szczesny rolling left. Szczesny fires across the middle, incomplete, intended for tight end Bobby Thompson. Ball was thrown a little bit behind him. Szczesny looks pretty good on the rollout, though. I think he's very comfortable, especially going to his left-hand side. Both teams continue to struggle with under 100 yards in total offense in this game.
Last week, Szczesny had that in passing on his first series.
Yeah, you're right.
Just not able to move the football. That time they tried to pull the right guard, Bob Dunlap, to give Szczesny some more protection. They just can't hang on to the football right now, just slipping right off their hands. And it's going to get worse.
2nd down and 10. Draw play to Manny DeSantis. DeSantis gets 2 or 3 yards. Don Dignan in on the stop. And Dignan also gets to play some offense. There's the defensive coordinator for Pace Hunters, Bob Baker. Head coach George Mayer pretty much handles the offense, while Baker works extensively with the defense. 3rd down and 8. Chesney straight drop, fires across the middle, and it is incomplete. Just outside of the outstretched reach of Dennis Motherway with Cliff Dirks right on top of it.
Nice throw that time by Chesney. That's the only place he could have thrown that football because there was under coverage by the linebackers, and then you had the defensive backs, and Motherway went high, just couldn't hold on to the football. Tricario, a very familiar name, is on the football field again.
5th punt of the night with Hansen waiting back here by himself. Bounces at the 49. It just dives there. It comes back towards St. John's. And the ball will be down at the 45. I don't believe it hit a Pace player, or else that would be St. John's football. We'll wait for the official call from our referee, Larry Kukaka. But I believe a St. John's player touched it first. And that means St. John's will have down the ball at the 47-yard line of their own. But the officials trying to sort it out and see if a Pace player touched the football. It did not look like that from here.
The official says no, the ball was down, touched by a St. John's player, so Pace, it appears, will have the football. He is signaling to the defensive team.
So it is still 3-0. 5:44 to go in this rainy first half in Jamaica, New York. Not far from where they're playing the World Series. We'll be back in a moment. Playoffs.
Control, back to Leach. Leach shoots. Brian Leach, his first goal in the National Hockey League.
Intense in the trenches, always hard-hitting, and explosive scoring style. That's New York Jets football and MSG's Jets Journal. Host Greg Gumbel gives the latest team news, highlights, interviews, and previews that makes the fan feel a part of the action. Watch Jets Journal Saturday at 6 and 10:30. No one has doubted their desires. But as a new season begins, a winning character is in place. Now they're a team determined to rock the Garden with every pass and score. They're the New York Knicks, ready to make their winning dream a reality. The Knicks make their debut when they battle the Cleveland Cavaliers in preseason action. It all starts with game night, Friday, October 14th at 8.
Welcome back to Redmond Field of the campus of St. John's University. I should have said that the National League playoffs are going on, not far from here, but on a rainy night like this, tough to play baseball, very tough to play football. Stagliano on first down for Pace. Swings it out to Andrzejewski. Gets a couple of yards. Perhaps Bombo is looking ahead to what might be a World Series appearance by the New York Mets.
Well, it could happen, but they have to get past a John Tudor and also a tough team in Tim Belcher as well.
And a rainy night.
And Oral Hershiser. I like to see Pace here. They're throwing the football now on first down, going back to their offensive set here because the running game just wasn't working.
Second down and 8 for the Setters. Hand off to Capra. 3 or 4 hard yards. Kevin Holland made the stop. So Capra has been a very busy customer in this football game. He's been doing most of the ball carrying. 12 carries on the night, 17 yards.
It's been indicative of the way both offenses have moved tonight. Not many first downs, not much yardage. Some balls in and out of the hands of receivers, but we're not getting that explosion off of the offensive lines by either team. The defenses have been dominating.
You wonder if we'll see any big plays tonight, because a big play could really spell the difference in this game. 3rd down and 5. Back to throw is Stagliano. Looks across the middle, fires complete. First down at the 30-yard line. Patrick Dean hauling it in. The 6-foot freshman from the Bronx, New York, played at Fordham Prep. And the tackle was made by Matt Grimaldi.
Stagliano watches Dean on the right side the whole way downfield. He's just staring at him, and he fires the football. Good throw that time, nice spiral, and Dean finds a seam in the defense, and Grimaldi puts his arms around him and brings him down.
Right now, the Pace offense looks much better than the St. John's offense. 1st and 10 at the Redmond 29-yard line. Pitches to Capra. Capra goes nowhere, tried the right side, of the line this time. George Mayer said he wanted to try to get to the outside with his backs. And Capra's one he'd like to do it with because Doug Sweeney, who leads the club in rushing, is out with bruised ribs and has not played tonight.
If Pace can overload the right side and send some receivers down that way, with the wide side of the field and the speed of an Al Scott along the left side, if they can get him on one-on-one coverage, they might be able to break something.
Second down and 10. Stagliano, quick drop. Throws for Scott, complete, but Scott is racked up quickly by Steve Neves. Good coverage by Neves. Scott picked up maybe 4 or 5, but Neves was in his face.
Well, what a team will do, like Pace just did there, is they'll tuck that away. And if they continue to flood that right side, that time they worked a square out with Scott, and Stagliano knew he was throwing to him. They had single coverage there. Neves makes a nice recovery, but later in the game, that'll become an out and up, and they'll go for the big play, the home run ball.
3 in a row now for Stagliano. Third down and a long 4 out of the I formation with wideouts to both sides of the field. Capra turns it up and has a first down or is very close to a first down at the 20-yard line of St. John. Tackle made by John Krug.
Rich Andrzejewski throws a nice lead block here. He seals the outside pursuit, and that enables Capra to turn it upfield. And also Pierce with a good block, and they get a good chunk of yardage. One of the best executed ground runs so far tonight.
They spot the football just shy of the first down marker. It is 4th and less than a yard, and the Pace Centers are going to go for it.
I wouldn't expect anything fancy here, Bruce.
T backfield. First down, Pace. Jesus maybe on the carry to the 17-yard line. Mike Cunningham made the stop, and George Mayer just decided he might as well go for it because it's difficult to kick the ball in this weather anyway.
And when you need big yardage, you go over your right tackle, Pierce. He gets some good help, good block by the lead back, but they ran over the right tackle spot. Pierce isn't even the picture because he blew out the defensive line there.
So the drive continues at the 17-yard line of St. John's. We have 2:09 to go in the first half. Pace trails 3-0. Stagliano fires, incomplete, intended for Alfonso Scott with Steve Neves all over him.
Time Stagliano kind of rushed that toss. Could have made a better throw with Scott on that left side and one-on-one coverage. It's a little bit tougher here now to run an out and up because you don't have much yardage to work with, and the safety from the other side can come over and help.
Second down and 10, 2:03 to go in the first half. Setters need points. Single setback behind Stagliano. Bill Capra gets the call. Capra has some running room, and he's moving much better as he gets down to the 13-yard line. Bill Capra continuing to be the workhorse. That is his 15th carry of the football game.
Nice block by the wide receiver on the right side, Mark Hansen, and also the tight end, John Perez. He's probably the best blocker of their two tight ends, and that time he sealed the linebacker and just drove him upfield, and that created a little bit of a gap to run through.
So it is third down and 3. 10-play drive here for the Setters. They've moved the football 44 yards. Stagliano looks, still looking, rolling, in trouble and goes down. Back at the 14-yard line, it was Pat Dunn again. The first team All-Liberty Conference tackle from a year ago who made the stop.
And square in that time. Stagliano rolled to his right. He wanted to throw to Hansen, but Hansen runs right into Krug. On the top side of your screen there, number 1 colliding with the defender, and Stagliano trying to improvise and not much doing.
Injured player on the football field is number 64, Kenny Cobb of St. John's, their senior tackle from Port Jefferson Station, New York.
Ken Cobb has had a big season for the Redmen, working that nose tackle position. Has snuffed out a lot of running plays and also helps on the passing plays. Gets good pressure on the quarterbacks, does Ken Cobb, and is very active, deceptively quick as we take a look at Bob Wicca, and he's a bit concerned on the sidelines. You hate to see any player get hurt. And also an integral player like a Ken Cobb.
Well, it will be a field goal time in just a couple of moments as Cobb is helped up to at least a sitting position. And once again, coming on the field will be Jimmy Sullivan of Pace to try the field goal. There's Cobb lifting off.
26 tackles this year for Cobb. A sack as well.
Let's see if we can pick up where Kenny Cobb got hurt on this play.
See Stagliano pump. Cobb is in the air. Now he's vulnerable. And coming down, he just twists his ankle as he comes down, his right ankle. He didn't step on anybody. Just when he landed, that's where he was hurt.
So a field goal attempt. It will be from 30 yards out. Jim Sullivan will do the kicking. The holder is Joe Smurrow. Ball is placed down. The kick is up. And he's got the distance. It is good. And we are tied at 3 on a 30-yard field goal. The first ever field goal by Jim Sullivan. And so with a minute 5 seconds to go in the first half of play, St. John's 3 and Pace 3.
Nice placement by Joe Smurrow. You know, Smurrow is a wide receiver. You like to have guys with good hands. You see the Pace fans going crazy. They're sitting to our left along the near sideline. You know, Pace sent over a couple of busloads from the Alpha Chi Epsilon fraternity, and they came over. Jim Sullivan is a member of that Alpha Chi Epsilon fraternity, so a couple of busloads came over. Despite the rain and the inclement weather, they're here having a good time, and they've seen their setters tie this game up at 3, and we have just over a minute to go here in this first half, Bruce.
So Pace moved the football extremely well, Bob, in that last drive. They mixed things up. I think the big factor was the fact that Capper finally was able to pick up some yardage on the ground. If you can do that, it just makes everything else so much easier.
Well, George Mayer felt he could run wide a bit on the St. John's defense, and they did break it off the tackles, running to the outside, and that kind of opened up their passing game just enough.
Dan Esau will kick off. Kevin Holland is deep along with Kevin Conway and Julio Teo. And it's Teo at the 12. Teo to the 25. Teo out to the 31-yard line. And so with 59 seconds to go in the first half, the Redmen will get a chance here to try to move the ball. Let's see if Sosny decides to put it up and take a shot before halftime.
We saw last week against Florida with St. John's on the short end of the stick. They came back in the last couple of minutes of that first half, and they were throwing the football. They'll throw the football and try to put pressure. And they'll try to get it to another way in McDermott and try to split the zone defense and work underneath.
Split backs for the Redmen on 1st and 10. McDermott, Motherway are the wideouts. Straight handoff. Who's football? And Pace has it at the 36-yard line of St. John. So the Redmen hoping to move the ball before halftime, but they coughed it up as Danny DeSantis fumbled the ball. Second turnover of the game, and the Setters with Danny McKenna popping on it, now back in business.
Well, DeSantis carrying the football, and he was kind of had his own man block one of the Pace Setters into the football. McKenna just pounces on it. You know, that's why St. John's didn't throw the football, was because they were scared of an interception, a sack, or a fumble. They tried to run it, and they coughed the football over.
53 seconds to go in the first half. St. John's has turned it over now a second time. Stagliano with time, dumps it across the middle. A pickup of 7 as Rich Andrzejewski moves it down to the 30-yard line. Majewski and Holland made the stop. Timeout, Pace.
You can just see the confidence in Stagliano as he's dropping back. He's setting up. He's not dropping back flat-footed. Watch Stagliano when he drops back. He's bouncing on his toes. He's ready to throw the football. He's not waiting for something to happen. He's making something happen. Looking over the defense, very confident. Looks over the defensive line nicely, and Andrzejewski just gets open in a seam.
He's hit 4 of his last 5 passes, and he is now 7 for 21 in the game, and Stagliano is starting to look more confident out there right now.
You know, for Pace, their defense, you know, we talked about their offense turning the football over. Well, they've now recovered 14 fumbles this season, 2 of them tonight.
That's unbelievable. 14 in this, their 6th game.
And they're still -1 for the year.
Well, they throw a lot of interceptions. So it is 2nd down and 5. 41 ticks to go in the first half. Stagliano out of the shotgun. Nobody in front of him at all. Stagliano steps in. Wide open receiver is Hansen, but it's incomplete.
Stagliano released that football maybe a second before he wanted to. Harry Blair was putting some pressure on coming around that left side, and Stagliano felt that he stepped up in the pocket and just threw it quickly and was not able to put it on the mark.
3rd down and 5 at the 30. Shotgun again. Stagliano steps in, has time, throws, complete, 1st down. Mark Hansen this time holds on to the football, and the clock moves with 27 seconds to go in the 1st half, and now Pace will hurry it up as they stop the clock to move the chains up. 25 seconds to go.
Stagliano dropping back, looking to his right, not checking off, and he throws it over there. Grimaldi is there to put the hit on him and keep him in bounds, but St. John's defense is softening up just a bit. Earlier on, St. John's was meeting the receivers at the line of scrimmage and giving them that one good hit, and they were getting such a good pass rush that Stagliano wasn't having time and the receivers weren't getting downfield. But now they're staying back a bit and they're enabling the Pace receivers to find their little niche on the field and feel the coverage and cut underneath.
St. John's takes timeout, and so Joe Stagliano goes over to the sidelines to talk to his head coach, George Mayer, in his 16th year. Stagliano will have the football, 1st and 10 at the 25, and they need a little bit more yardage to get in field goal range, I would think. Jim Sullivan hit one from 30 already tonight. There's the situation in what we expected would be a wide-open football game, but this ever-present drizzle has caused problems for both quarterbacks and both offenses.
Started at around 4:30 tonight.
Beautiful field goal. They've done a terrific job of this. The first ever lit game, first ever night football game at St. John's. Here's Stagliano, roller, fires, incomplete, intended for Hansen. 13 seconds to go in the half.
Stagliano needed one more block that time. He would have been able to roll out to his left and set up, but he wasn't able to. The block did not hold up, and there was some pressure, and he had to get rid of the football. They have to get down to, I would say, at least the 15-yard line for the field goal attempt in order to have a chance here in these conditions. That would make it around a 33-yard attempt for Sullivan.
Patrick Dean wide to the right. Scott and Hansen come wide left. Stagliano rolling, pressured, and he is sacked back at the 33-yard line. Play is made by Greg Scacinoci, and that will push the Setters out of field goal range with 3 seconds to go in the half.
Scacinoci feeling that Scaglione was going to run to his left, and what he does there is he doesn't jump like so many people pursuing a quarterback will. You jump up in the air, then he can head fake you and run around. He stayed low to the ground and just zeroed in on the waist of Scaglione and was able to bring him down. And unfortunately for Pace, they had two receivers open coming across from the right side, but Scaglione couldn't get the football to him.
So the Setters now faced with a 3rd and 16 situation. And I believe George Mayer realizes he's out of field goal range. Let's see if he just puts up one little prayer and sees if he can come up with the tipped football. 3 seconds to go. First half, there's Bob Ricker, head coach of the Redmen.
Bob Ricker saying no penalty in the end zone, please.
Good point. 4 defensive backs on for the Redmen and an extra linebacker. Only 3 down linemen. Stagliano from the shotgun. Waiting. He just might as well throw it. He fires, and it is incomplete, out of bounds, and that should do it for the first half of play. So in a long, quiet first half of play in terms of offense, we are tied. St. John's and Pace, 3-3 at the end of the first half of play. We'll be back in a moment.
I've heard people say they use drugs and alcohol because they're bored. They seem to believe that drinking or using drugs will make their lives more exciting. But being out of control, being addicted, well, that's not my idea of excitement. Having goals and dreams and trying to make them happen will make life interesting. Drugs and alcohol aren't a part of the good life. In fact, they can put the good life permanently out of reach.
This message furnished by the NCAA.
Treat yourself to a weekend on Central Park South at the renowned Essex House for only $149 per night for couples. For reservations, call 212-484-5100.
When you wish upon a star, your dream comes true.
Night Thorough
player, international Grand Slam winner, and golfing legend.
Hi, I'm Gary Player. There's no swing that's right for everyone, but there is a swing that's right for you. I'm going to help you find it, and we're going to show you the fastest 5 ways to shave strokes with your game. You can have a championship grip and hit through the ball every time. I'll teach you the secrets of the short game. How to lose your fear of sand traps, how to maximize bad lies, and how to play more aggressive golf. Let me coach you to great golf with my new video.
Call 1-800-468-2600 for your 90 minutes of personal instruction with Gary Player. Thousands of these tapes have sold for $79.95. But for a limited time only, you can have Gary Player on golf for just $29.95. Save $50. Order now. That's 1-800-468-2600.
Dropping out of school and doing drugs is no way to live. Make something of your life. Stay in school. Stay in shape. Stay off drugs.
Welcome back to Redmond Field. We're at halftime where the Pace Setters and the St. John's Redmen are tied at 3-3. The rain has subsided somewhat, but the offenses were really unable to execute well in the first half, and the rain had a little bit to do with it, but the offenses just sputtered. However, Stagliano got things going a little bit later in that first half, and Pace came back with the field goal to tie the score. So at halftime, it's the Pace Setters 3, the St. John's Redmen 3. We'll be back with our halftime activities after these messages.
I wonder if I can get a car loan.
Oh, I wonder if they'll give me a vacation loan.
Join the Apple Bank family and you'll never have to wonder if you can meet your financial needs. You'll get a personal family banker, free, no bounce checking, and more. Join the Apple Bank family and feel good about banking again. Come in or call Apple Bank for savings. We're good for you.
The greatest city in the world. What better place for a university? A university with a distinguished alumni, which includes the governors of New York and California. A university with a history of success and a tradition of opportunity. It's the least expensive private university in New York State and the largest Catholic university in the country. Yes, the city is New York, and the university is St. John's.
At Pace University, a good education is about more than theories. It's about living in the real world. The world of law, business, the arts, healthcare. Pace offers a broad range of undergraduate and graduate courses with campuses in Manhattan and Westchester. You'll find direction at Pace University. So wherever you want to go in life, you can get there from here. Call 1-800-TRY-PACE.
At halftime, Pace Setters 3, St. John's Redmen 3. And Bob, your thoughts on the first half? Obviously, there's not much scoring, and we expected a lot of it.
Well, we expected both teams to throw the football more. Both teams tried to establish the run, and it just didn't work. Pace had a little bit of a running attack later on in that second quarter. It opened up their passing game a bit. Their quarterback, Joe Stagliano, trying to get some confidence. We know Scott Sensi has confidence, but he hasn't been able to get on that wavelength with McDermott. Those two guys are able to find each other on the football field, and give a lot of credit to that Pace secondary. They've really tightened up on McDermott. And although the weather has been a factor here, Bruce, I just think both teams are not playing good football. I'd say the defenses have dominated, but the offenses have just really sputtered.
And definitely, Majewski was terrific in the first half. The middle linebacker for St. John's, and McKenna, the middle linebacker for Pace.
Yeah, those guys are just dominating as far as the defense has been concerned. What they do is they read the quarterback's eyes, they call out the signals, and they call out the defensive keys, and that's why they're so effective, and they also have very good speed.
We're at halftime with our score, Pace 3 and St. John's 3. And Bob, your thoughts on the first half?
Well,
We'll be back to Redmond Field on the campus of St. John's University with more halftime activities in a moment.
This fall, Europe will be easier to see than ever, thanks to fewer crowds and Pan Am's amazingly low Eurosaver fares. With fares as low as these, tickets may be non-refundable, have varying effective dates, and are not available on all flights. Other significant restrictions apply. With Pan Am's Eurosavers, you couldn't pick a better time to see Europe. Pan Am, the #1 airline to Europe.
The #1 fitness exercise in the world is cross-country skiing. And now it can be duplicated in your home with Easy Glider. It's the first ski simulator that's easy to afford. Just 20 minutes every other day. An hour a week is all it takes to strengthen and firm all major muscle groups and lose weight aerobically. Step on the glider pads. Set the tension control for desired resistance. And we're off on a road to fitness as invigorating as a cross-country run. With Easy Glider, you can burn up to 360 calories per workout, plus tone chest, arms, and back, calves, thighs, and buttocks. The smooth, fluid gliding action means there's none of jogging shocks or injuries. And unlike exercise bikes or jogging, all major muscles get an efficient workout. Notice the quality construction of this sturdy metal frame. This handsome unit folds down quickly for easy storage. Other ski simulators cost as much as $500. But Easy Glider is yours for just 3 easy payments of $19.95, and your satisfaction is absolutely guaranteed. Finally, the benefits of cross-country skiing are in easy reach with Easy Glider. Grab the bargain. Call toll-free now. Don't send any money. Just call toll-free 1-800-328-6100. We'll bill your credit card. 3 easy payments of just $19.95 each. Get a full 60-day home trial before the last payment is billed. The total price is just $59.85 plus $9 shipping and handling. Call 1-800-328-6100 now.
To talk a little more about the Liberty Conference football package this year, we have with us Jerry McDougall, who is the Chairman and Chief Operating Officer of Apple Bank, and Jack Kaiser, the Athletic Director at St. John's University. Jerry, tell me about your involvement with the Liberty Conference.
Well, this is the first year, of course, for sponsoring the Liberty Conference, and Apple Bank is just as pleased as punch to be there. We think the Liberty Conference of all metropolitan area ball teams is going to be very exciting for all of us, and we're just pleased to be here.
Has Apple Bank been involved in athletics and college athletics or high school athletics in the past?
For the last 5 years, we've sponsored college and high school athletics on Long Island and in the metropolitan area, and let me tell you, the results have been just great.
Do you take pride in the fact that you're dealing with academic students, some high-class academic students, as well as fine football players?
Well, that's really what it's all about. We think athletics tends to help to make the whole man, so to speak, and the gals as well. And we think that Apple Bank wants to be a part of developing them, and they're doing a great job.
St. John's University Athletic Director Jack Kaiser was instrumental in helping to put together this whole package for the Liberty Conference. And Jack, what are your feelings?
Well, as Jerry said, they're our major sponsor, Apple Bank, and they were the ones who really made this package go. The fans are able to see the quality of football that we play from member schools, and help in the general development, as Jerry mentioned, of the whole man. The people are able to show that they are good students and good athletes at the same time.
Well, when people think of St. John's, they think of college hoops, but Jack, you're developing a strong football program. Your lacrosse team is doing well, and every spring your baseball club is always among the best in the East.
We have 24 sports now for men and women, and we feel that they're competitive in each one of those sports and each team, whether it be men or women. We're very proud of our boys and girls, and each spring, each fall, each winter season, we feel that we do a very good job with our student athletes.
What about the future of the Liberty Conference? With Fordham moving out in 1990, what are your thoughts?
It's going to be touch and go. We're sort of in a state of anxiety right now. Fordham has mentioned that they're going to the Colonial League, which is Division I AA. On the horizon as well, at this next convention, we'll probably be voting on a 1 AAA category. So some of our teams, like Iona and ourselves, might go into that category. So right now we're sort of treading water, see what will happen at the convention, and after that time the Liberty Conference will make some sort of decision.
Jerry, as Apple Bank enjoyed the association this year, might we look for you to be involved in other venues in years to come?
No question about that. We've found that the response that we've gotten from the players and students themselves, the whole student body, as a matter of fact, the parents, the community in general, Apple Bank wants to support those kind of things. So I think you'll always see us around in the athletic effort, particularly in the publicity of it.
Jerry McDougall, Apple Bank, Jack Kaiser, St. John's University, thank you both for joining us, and congratulations on the success this year of the Liberty Conference. We'll take a short break. We'll come back with halftime highlights after these messages.
I wonder if I can get a combo.
Oh, I wonder if they'll give me a vacation loan.
Join the Apple Bank family and you'll never have to wonder if you can meet your financial needs. You'll get a personal family banker, free, no bounce checking, and more. Join the Apple Bank family and feel good about banking again. Come in or call Apple Bank for savings. We're good for you.
The greatest city in the world. What better place for a university? A university with a distinguished alumni, which includes the governors of New York and California. A university with a history of success and a tradition of opportunity. It's the least expensive private university in New York State and the largest Catholic university in the country. Yes, the city is New York, and the university is St. John's.
At Pace University, a good education is about more than theories. It's about living in the real world. The world of law, business, the arts, healthcare. Pace offers a broad range of undergraduate and graduate courses with campuses in Manhattan and Westchester. You'll find direction at Pace University. So wherever you want to go in life, you can get there from here. Call 1-800-TRY-PACE.
You've heard a lot about drugs and alcohol by now. You've been told how harmful they can be, how much heartache they can cause. When you hear those stories about people whose lives were ruined by drugs and alcohol, you're hearing the truth. Take a lesson from the people you hear about and read about, people who found out the hard way. Drugs and alcohol can shatter your dreams and ruin your life.
This message furnished by the NCAA.
Halftime at Redmond Field. This is the first ever night football game at St. John's University. The program began as a club team, and in '78, Coach Bob Ricca took it to the Division III level. And the team is improving with each and every season. This is another major step for St. John's in Division III football.
Well, they've had some successful campaigns in the past, and right now they're tied with Pace at 3 at halftime. The weather conditions not ideal for football. Both teams trying to get on track, but it's been a strong defensive effort on both sides as well.
Well, the Mets-Dodgers game in nearby Shea postponed tonight, but we are pleased that we're bringing you Liberty Conference football, Pace Setters, and St. John's Redmen. And you know, when you're over here at St. John's, Bob, you can't help but think about the Hoop Club getting ready for the Big East season.
That's right, the bread and butter of the St. John's athletic program. And they have a character who runs the show on the sidelines. This guy is funny, and Bruce, I know you know him well.
Well, he's a wonderful character, if you want to put it in those terms. The head coach of the Redmen, who's been at the controls for over 2 decades. And earlier today, we had a chance to catch up with Louis Carnesecca, and let's go to that interview right now. Believe it or not, college basketball season is just 8 days away. Yes, practice does begin soon in the metropolitan area. When you talk about college basketball, you talk about the St. John's Redmen and Coach Louis Carnesecca now entering his 21st season. Louis, usually...
That's in college. We're entering our 39th season.
You're keeping track better than me. Well, usually you're a world traveler during the summer, but this year you stayed closer to home.
Yes, I did. I didn't go overseas. The only thing I went to was the Olympic trials in Colorado Springs. But I spent it mostly recruiting, doing a lot of research, doing a lot of work. We'll need it this year.
You'll need it because you've lost your backcourt. At least you'll lose Boo Harvey for a while. You've lost Michael Porter for good because of academics. Who are you bringing in?
Well, I'll tell you, of course, you know, the big fellas right from last year. We have Bobby Martin, they got Malik Sealy, and then you got, Billy Singleton, was a Prop 48 this year, so he'll be on the club. But now these are the fellows that we hope to use in the back court. We have a fellow from junior college, Darrell Akins, who went to White Plains Community College. He'll be there. We have Jason Buchanan, nice young man from Syracuse. We have Terrence Mullen, that's right, Chris Mullen's brother. And we have another fellow named Barry Mulhaven, who played out at Nassau Community College. So these are the new fellows that the people haven't seen yet play.
So how do you approach the new season now? You're going to have to do a lot more teaching than usual.
No, I'll tell you, we haven't seen the kids play. They've just been getting in shape and doing work on the weights. But I do like their spirit. I think they've been working very hard in the preseason. And it'll be a new look. This will be, for all purposes, a new team. Don't forget, we have only 4 fellows returning. Talking about Matty Buss, Jason Williams, Sean Muter, and of course, our boy Kevin Fitzpatrick.
Hey, Lou, a quick thought on the football team. What are your feelings on the team really improving and becoming a factor in college athletics?
I thought my basketball players work hard, but these fellows are unbelievable. The time and effort and the great camaraderie there is. How could you coach 50, 60 guys? You have to give those coaches a tremendous amount of credit.
Louis, good luck to you. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.
So the Redmond of St. John's thinking about basketball, but we still have a half of football ahead tonight. Pace and St. John's tied at 3 at the half. We'll be back with a look at the first half statistics after these commercial messages.
It's 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready, now go catch go.
Time Life Music presents the rock and roll era.
Well, over Beethoven, Charles Tchaikovsky to me.
It's 1956. 22 rock and roll hits, now at the special introductory price of only $9.95 for 2 LPs or cassette, $11.95 for compact disc. To order, call now. After you purchase 1956, you'll have the opportunity to audition other great albums from Time Life's rock and roll era.
People speak of God, everything that Uncle John need, oh baby.
Rock to the best of 1956, now at the special introductory price of just $9.95 for 2 LPs or cassette, $11.95 for compact disc. Wait or call now. In October, it's an exciting new fall season on Madison Square Garden Network. And it all begins with the premiere of MSG Sports Desk, bringing you all the news, scores, and highlights 3 to 5 times every night. New York Rangers hockey returns as the Broadway Blues turn their rugged young defense loose on a new NHL season. With MSG, you won't miss any of the action, including the Garden opener, October 10th versus the rival New Jersey Devils. The New York Knicks tune up for another spirited ride to the playoffs with a preseason lineup that includes an October 25th date with a world champion Los Angeles Lakers. No autumn complete without gridiron warfare, and MSG delivers the best in college football, featuring the powerful Big Ten Conference. So as the fall season hits full stride, MSG continues to bring you the finest in sports action. Madison Square Garden Network. We bring the Garden home.
The second half of tonight's game is brought to you by Apple Bank, offering quality service at locations throughout the greater New York area. Apple Bank for savings. We're good for you. 3-3 to score after half. Not much offense mustered by either ball club in that first half of play. And here's a look at the numbers, Bob. Scott Szczesny, 3 yards passing in 1 half. You would have never expected that coming in. Give some credit to the defense. You look at the total yardage. St. John's was able to move the ball on the ground a little bit, as did Pace. But Pace started to open things up a little bit. Joe Stagliano moving the football near the end of the first half. That's where they got a bulk of their numbers. And they forced a couple of turnovers and penalties. The thing was just about the same. But once again, Pace seemed a little bit more relaxed in their offensive set near the end of that first half, and we'll have to see if that can carry over. Last year, these two teams combined for 110 pass attempts, 58 completions, and 708 yards passing. What a difference a year makes.
Both teams tried to establish the run. We knew Pace was going to try to run to the outsides a little bit, maybe open up their passing game. We weren't sure if St. John's was going to try that because they had struggled. John Cosenza and Manny Santos were running the football a little bit. But I think in the second half, they're going to have to go back to what they're comfortable with, and that's their passing game. Try to get McDermott open a little bit. St. John's will try to diversify their passing. One thing that worked is we take a look at Bob Ricker, going over some last-minute plans as we get set to start the second half, is getting Cosenza to come out of the backfield from his running back position, and that'll open things up on the outside a bit for Cessny to throw the football. So we're set to go. Half number 2. 3-3 our score. The only scoring a field goal by Jim Sullivan, 30 yards for Pace, and Anthony Tricario, 38 yards for St. John. You know, Pace has to consider themselves a bit lucky that this game is tied at 3. They had horrendous field position in that first quarter, starting from inside the 20-yard line repeatedly, and St. John's took the football over around midfield on several occasions and not able to punch it in for at least 6 points. So Pace in that locker room had to be a little bit upbeat that they were able to come from behind, tie this game up, and that they're still in it because they could easily be being blown out right now. So Anthony Tricario will kick off for the Redmen as we begin this second half of play. St. John's deferred the choice in the first half, and they're still going to kick off in the second half. It was their choice not to get the ball. Tricario boots it. And the ball is handled by Mark Hansen at the 10. The working room at the 30, gets to the 34-yard line. Good field position for the Centers. 10. Joe Stagliano leads out the Pace club. Stagliano's been looking most of the evening to Phil Capra for running plays. Hasn't really had one favorite receiver tonight, although you know the danger of Alfonso Scott, number 82, who had 26 catches coming into tonight's ball game and 3 touchdowns. Hand off to Capra. Nowhere. Good hard hit by the Redmen. Rich Colangelo led the charge. Majewski had 8 tackles in the first half for St. John's. Number 34, Pete Majewski, and number 44, Dan McKenna, had 6 tackles for the Setters. Most of the yardage Pace accumulated in the first half on the ground was running to their right. I'm sure St. John's will make some adjustments. They're going to try to get one-on-one coverage with Scott on the left side. Second down and 10. In motion, Capra. Hand off to Andrzejewski, and he gets a couple of harder yards. Good blocking over there by Chaffee and Pierce, but Majewski and Colangelo again around the football. It brings up a 3rd and long, 3rd and 8. Majewski is just so active on that defense, from that middle linebacking position. Always moving forward and always running with his head up and checking things out. Surveying the situation. Scott wide left, Hansen wide right. 3rd and 8. Stagliano in the pocket, fakes, fires, it's intercepted. Picked off by Mike Cunningham. Cunningham at the 40, the 30, and down at the 24-yard line. Steve Jaffe, the right guard, made the stop, but Cunningham showed us some good feet in returning that football all the way inside the 25. Well, he just looked the football right into his hands. A bad throw that time by Scagliano. The second interception of the day. He pumped once, and then he hurried the football over the middle. And tucked it away, made sure he didn't fumble it. Didn't switch the football to his left hand like we'd want a running back to do, but yard line of Pace. Straight give up the middle, and that's good running. About 6 or 7 yards. That's a timing play, Bruce. They don't even use it. What happens is the quarterback settles in under the center, and that's what Cessny did. And in a situation like that, all you do is tap the side of the center, and it's like an audible, and you say, listen, we're not going to go with the count, just snap me the football, and only the center and quarterback move. It was a good pickup. Wide right, Mother Way. Wide left, McDermott. Cessny
quick drop. Goes to the outside. It's complete to Motherway. He gets to the 16-yard line. John Hankey made the stop. And it's just a yard or two shy of the first down. Bogan just throwing it on the left side, was looking over the middle, almost fumbled the snap, then just fired it to the right. Hangs on to the football, not able to fake anybody out there, and Hankey with a nice one-on-one tackle in the open field. So the officials trying to cover the football, keep the drive, they put the towel over it in between plays. Third and a long one. Steady rain continues to fall. Selsby rolls left, in trouble and goes down. What a play by Don Dignan as he wrapped up the quarterback all by himself and tore his jersey and pulled him down to the ground. Oh, Don Dignan with a big play that time. Watch him, he just throws aside Bob Dunlap, number 67 on the offensive line, trying to block him, and Dignan just shakes him, he drags Selsby down from behind. So on to kick a field goal now is Anthony Tricario. To send to a hold. It's a 41-yard attempt. Ball is placed down, kick is up. Plenty of distance. And it is no good. Wide to the right. And so once again, Tricario gets all the football, but it is not on target. Plenty of leg that time for Tricario, and St. John's messes up a golden opportunity on the interception. They were moving the football downfield, but the Pace defense comes up big. They bend, but they don't break. So we're still tied at 3, 11:25 to go in the third quarter of play. We'll be back with more Liberty Conference action in a moment.
I wonder if I can get a combo.
Oh, I wonder if they'll give me a vacation loan.
Join the Apple Bank family and you'll never have to wonder if you can meet your financial needs. You'll get a
I wouldn't just throw away my talents or my hard-earned money. So I'm not going to rob myself of everything that's important to me by using drugs and alcohol. If you're using drugs and alcohol, you're stealing from yourself. And sooner or later, you'll be left with nothing.
This message furnished by the NCAA.
Pace and St. John's tied at 3. Third quarter of play, 11:25 to go. Pace with the football. Off the missed field goal by Tricario. On first down, Stagliano is pass incomplete. Intended for Alfonso Scott. Steve Neves on the coverage. But on top of Stagliano, since struggling in the early going, has clicked on 6 of his last 11. And he is 9 of 27 in the football game. Well, he's developed some confidence, and if I had to look to one play that kind of got him on a little bit of a roll in that second quarter, about midway through, he threw a screen pass that went for a nice gain, and since then he's shown some poise here, is not afraid to attack the secondary. Twins to the left, single setback. Stagliano gives up the middle on the draw play, and Phil Capra can't pick up anything. Just tripped on the high AstroTurf that time, on the high Omni turf, I should say. There was a hole there, and that could have picked up a couple of yards, but Capra just tripped himself up. Rain has picked up once again here at Redmond Field, and the conditions, the way they were in that first quarter, it's getting heavy now, the rain coming down and everything just getting very slippery. By the way, Kenny Cobb, 64, right tackle of the Redmond, back in the football game. Stagliano rolls left. Stagliano running out of the pocket, and Pat Dunnigan pulled him down. He picked up 4 or 5, well short of first down yardage, and so it's punting time for the Pace setters as Dan Isak comes on. With that rain coming down, and once again you have to make sure of that snap. Isak's going to have to try to hold on to it. For the guys receiving, they're looking into a driving rain because the rain is blowing from our right to our left. Snap so important in this situation. 8th punt of the night for the setters. Isak, high punt. Good coverage. Fair catch. Teo at the 35. And that's where the Redmond will take over. Yesterday, Isak talked to us at practice and said that what he's really worked on is the height of his punt. What he's doing is he's picking the leg up higher each time he punts the football. And he credited the kicker for the Giants that they work together. And made a difference. And the Giants open staff. First and 10 at the 35-yard line for the Redmen. Great handoff, couple of yards on the play. That Cesny carrying on his own? Yes, it was. So it's second down and about 7. McDermott has not been very active tonight. Has yet to catch a pass.
Let's go.
Last week, McDermott had a big first half against Fordham, but only had one catch in the second half at 8 for the ball game. St. John's is going against the wind here. Cesny back to throw. McDermott open, decides to take it himself. First down. Cesny into Pace territory at the 48-yard line. Big pickup by the junior from Albertson, New York. Defense has to respect Cesny's ability to throw this football because he's had such good games over the course of his careers. So the secondary cannot over-pursue. They have to stay with their man. Cesny shows the quick feet, and he just rolls to his outside, and he's able to turn it upfield just a bit. Gets by McKenna, who slipped on the turf, and he's able to turn it up near the 50-yard line. 12 yards pickup. On first down, the handoff is to Teo. Teo has some running room, gets 8 yards. Bignan made the tackle. With some help from Peter Frank. And suddenly St. John's is running the football well. Cesny's throwing his own number a lot. That's what they're doing. They're not running off the tackle or running through the center. They're trying the conventional running plays. They're using Cesny to roll out and tuck the football away, use some draw plays. Bob, does this set up perhaps McDermott a little play action? They may want to try that zigzag pattern. He runs to the middle of the field and then breaks it to the outside. That's the only way he can shake the coverage that Pace is in. Second down and 2. At the 40-yard line of Pace. Cesny, quick pitch back, Teo, and he's close to a first down. Eric Williams made the initial hit, and Cliff Dirks came on to make the stop. Official timeout for a measurement. Cesny just on a quick pitch to Teo. He tries to cut it in the middle, and some hard blocks, and then an initial hit that time coming in for Pace was Carl Glazer, and he kind of slowed up Teo and allowed some of the pursuit to come in and stop him. We'll have to see if he gets a first down. Nice cutback by Teo, the sophomore from East Rockaway High School in East Rockaway, New York. 3-3 our score, under 8 minutes to go. Third quarter of play. First night football game ever at St. John's. Liberty Conference football action. Third down and call it inches. Cesny with a long count. Calls his own number. And he's close to a first down. He reached the football over. Very dangerous. Could have lost it. And it all depends where referee Larry Kukaka spots the ball. Cesny trying to break the plane, so to speak, of the first down line, but holding the football out like that, someone could just come away and grab it. It's not like you're breaking the plane of the end zone. Once it's in, it's a touchdown. This ball is live in the middle of the field, and they're talking about forward progress stopping it. He's just reaching that ball up, and then he loses control as he's hit from behind. But it's not like crossing the goal line. It's not like breaking that plane. There he could have been stripped, and someone would have come across. They could have run with that football. They bring the chains on, and it is short by inches. You have to go through it again, Bruce. If you can't make inches, you don't deserve to win a football game. Fourth down, and less than 3 inches. Now the Redmen will go for it as they send in their second tight end. And Don Candeas checks into the ball game. Rain continues to come down steadily. 7:25, third quarter, still a long way to go. Cesny would be good just to keep the football. Cesny, I don't know. Looked like he had it initially, and again it depends on where they spot the football. Holding on to the ball for dear life, but it looks like he had it. The only way to stop a situation like this is for a linebacker to come right over the top and hit him.
but in that situation, McKenna was just a fraction of a second late, and it looks like he got the few inches needed.
First down, St. John's. At the 38-yard line of Pace.
It's been all on the ground.
St. John's 2-2 overall, 2-1 in the conference. And Pace 2-3 overall, 0-2 in conference play. Szczesny from the shotgun on first down. Steps in the pocket, being pursued, shakes one tackler, or would-be tackler, and goes down to 31 in the hands of John Hankey.
Szczesny with those quick feet, as Bob Ricketts says, when he tucks that football away, he can improvise. He can throw on the run, and he can sidestep tacklers and get positive yardage. Once again, they're looking for McDermott working that left side. A lot of good coverage by the secondary of Pace. They're doing a fine job this evening.
7-yard pickup by Szczesny. 8 carries, 28 yards in the game.
Peter Frank is playing a fine game in the defensive backfield, doubling up on McDermott.
Second down and 3 at the 31-yard line of Pace. Did Szczesny take too much time?
We'll wait for the word from Larry Kukaka. Yes, the call, delay of game, 5-yard penalty against the Redmen. Bob Rickett is upset along the St. John's sideline. Offense has been tough to come by this evening. And when you get down close like this and a possibility to score, the last thing you want to have to do is make up an extra 5 yards. Rickett conferring with his coaches upstairs. St. John breaks the line.
Second down and 8. Szczesny dropping back, looking screen, has nothing, running out of the pocket, and he is crunched by T.J. Malstock, who leads the team in sacks and is 5th in tackle.
Also a nice play by number 70, John Jordan. Jordan was able to flush Szczesny away as he tried to roll to his right, and Szczesny takes another hard hit. Pace's defense has been very tough. You see Jordan, number 70 there, just get his arms around him, and McKenna just cracked Szczesny in the back as Szczesny was ducking his head, and he was on the ground in pain. And I tell you, McKenna can hit. He used his chest when he hurt him.
So a loss of 2. It is now 3rd and 10. Szczesny play action. Szczesny rolling. Looking for McDermott, fires it, and McDermott can't hold on in an incompleted pass. And it brings up a 4th down and 10.
Chris, you have to be impressed with the defensive line work of Pace. They really prepared well for Szczesny. They're not fighting at his little head fakes, and they're kind of flushing him out of the pocket and forcing him to throw on the run and not throw when he wants to. They're not letting Szczesny dictate the offense.
So on 4th down, into punt is Anthony Tricario, and he hits a beauty. Redmond down there in coverage. They're trying to keep Pace hedged in, but it takes a Pace bounce and finally dives at the 24-yard line. So the Senators will take over. It is still 3-3 in a rainy football game at St. John's. We'll be back with more action in a moment.
Off the cover price. Just 3 monthly installments of $9.89.
24-yard line. Joe Stagliano on first down goes to Doug Sweeney. Haven't seen. So he has to yard for carry and has pretty good speed.
Tonight's game, but let's get in there and carries the football. And this is not the situation where guys can get hurt even more because slickness on the ground, your body tends to slip and you twist in ways you're not used to.
Stagliano 9 for 27 after the dismal first half. Has looked much better here in the second, but he does have 2 interceptions. Stagliano rolls out, fires, it is deflected, and incomplete. As was for and a big third down ball.
Stagliano this time feeling his oats, but just tries to strong arm the football into some coverage. You see him just loading up that right arm, pocket, and fires. And good coverage that time by Grimaldi.
Hansen had a shot at it. Third down, 9. Wide to the right, Mark Hansen. Wide left, Alfonso Scott. In motion goes Capra. Bagliano looks across the middle. It's deflected up for grabs and caught by Mark Hansen. It is a first down for the Pace Setters at the 36-yard line. Majewski made the stop.
Nothing like a little luck to help out the passing game as well. Stagliano once again just throwing the football in traffic. The ball was deflected, and Hansen's able to come up with it. It was deflected by one of the players on the Redmond defense.
It was Majewski. Watch Majewski, 34. There's the tip. Now he comes back to make the tackle. Talk about pursuit. Watch 34 come back in your picture.
Standing right in there. You know, George Mayer has to be a bit concerned about the fact that Stagliano is throwing the football and forcing it quite a bit, throwing it into a lot of traffic.
St. John's wants a timeout to talk about it. Pace for the first down from their own 36 when we return. We'll be back in just a moment. .40 to go in the third quarter. And Stagliano looks over the defense at first down. He hands off to Doug Sweeney. Sweeney gets 4 yards. The strength of this Pace offensive line is the tackles, Brian Piers and Mark Filipponi, who Coach George Mayer says might be the best pair of tackles in the league. I think you probably have to talk to Florida coach Larry Glick before you made that statement, because they've got a couple of pretty good ones.
Mr. Langan in particular.
Yeah. Second down and 6 at the 40. Stagliano keeps it on the ground. Sweeney has some running room close to a first down, just shy at the 45, and Sweeney keeps it out with the bruised ribs and now exploding off the football.
Well, that's the fastest we've seen any back hit a hole tonight. Sweeney just burst through along the right side, running off of Piers. And Sweeney, who had an injury, and Scott, who had an injury as well, have come on for Pace, and under these tough conditions are playing good football.
So it is 1st and 10. Sweeney got enough for the first down yardage at the 46-yard line. Second first down in this drive for the Setters. This time they work out of the I formation. It's Sweeney again. He sheds a tackler. He gets to the outside, and he's finally run down by Grimaldi, but not before he picked up 4.
Sweeney bouncing off the tackler, and you can see the little spark he's giving the Setters right now. Now they're not forced to have to go on top and throw the football. You see overall his stats this year, 177 yards on the ground. He's giving this offense a much-needed spark. This rain is coming down now even heavier.
Second down and 6. Pitch to Sweeney. Sweeney cuts back a couple of yards. Cunningham made the stop. And it brings up a third down and about 4.
Nice recovery by the St. John's defense. They were showing a blitz-type formation right on the center. Pace ran it to the outside like they should. But it was good to see from the defensive end and also from the outside linebackers. And Ken Cobb, who injured that right ankle in the first half, limps off the field, number 64 for St. John's.
So a big third down for Stagliano and company. Quick drop. Swings it out to Sweeney, and Sweeney goes down in the hands of Rich Colangelo, who didn't let him go anywhere. Also a pretty good pursuit in that play by Dunnigan.
Well, Colangelo holding his own, staying on that outside there, not straying away from his position. And as they try to throw a pass along the outside, a nice hit that time by Colangelo and also by Harry Blair.
So on fourth down, Dan Issa back in punt formation. His 9th punt of the night. He's been a busy customer. Kevin Conway, John Cosenza, and Julio Teo back deep. Fair catch Teo at the 17. Ooh, a tough one. He handles it well at the 15-yard line, and that's where the Redmond will start out. Coming up this weekend in the Liberty Conference, Albany State is at Fordham. The Rams undefeated. Their last loss, a matter of fact, was to the Great Danes last year, 20-16. They'll play tomorrow at Jack Coffey Field at 1. Stony Brook is at unbeaten in conference play, CW Toast, and Iona takes on RPI. Redmond from their own 14. First and 10, a minute 28, third quarter, tied at 3. And on first down, a big hole for John Cosenza as he powers out 7 or 8 yards. Tackle is made by Cliff Turks. Bob, I want to talk about the Division III rankings in the East. This past week, Fordham, after a blowout over St. John's, 46-15, dropped from 3rd to 4th because Wagner, ranked 6th, moved to 3rd spot after their blowout win over Montclair State. Now, there's no way in my mind Fordham should have dropped from 3 to 4, especially when you win that kind of game. So I don't really understand it.
Hate to be Albany State tomorrow.
And off is to Cosenza. He gets first down yardage up near the 29-yard line. Don Dignan made the stop. Wouldn't want to be Albany State tomorrow because head coach up there didn't want to change schools with Larry Slick, and that is not a classy thing to do because what you want to do is, it's a gentleman's agreement, so to speak. Coaches just exchange tapes. If you have to, you go elsewhere to a team that played a club, but in general, you should switch tapes, so it could be a big one for the Rams tomorrow.
Especially on this level where not many games are televised.
Right.
You can even take it off the dish.
First down and 10. Great deal up the middle. Cosenza getting 4 yards. Dignan made the stop. 15 seconds to go in this third quarter.
Cosenza carrying the football. Now, Bruce, there's a play in the St. John's playbook. I don't know if it's in the game for today, but they've used it a couple of times this season, is the halfback option, in which Cosenza does throw the football. By using him to run the football, they may try to set that play up for later on in the fourth period.
That is it for the third quarter of play. St. John's 3, Pace 3. We'll be back with more Liberty Conference football after these messages.
The year was 1964, and the superstars of rock and soul gathered for an historic event. Now, legendary concert through this limited opera of Born to Rock. See pioneer performances by superstars like Diana Ross and the Supremes. James Brown. Hosted by the originator of rock, Chuck Berry. You get powerful performances by Bo Diddley, Marvin Gaye, Ray Charles, and the incredible Tina Turner. Plus, the world's greatest rock band, the Rolling Stones. So, don't miss your chance to own this priceless piece of rock music history. Here's how to order.
To order, call toll-free 1-800-225-3030 or send $19.95 plus $3.50 shipping to Chuck Berry, P.O. Box 602M, Dallas, Texas. Specify VHS or Beta. Call 1-800-225-3030. Order now.
Intense in the trenches, always hard-hitting, and explosive scoring style. That's New York Jets football and MSG's Jets Journal. Host Greg Gumbel gives the latest team news, highlights, interviews, and previews that makes the fan feel a part of the action. Watch Jets Journal Saturday at 6 and 10:30.
Moving down the backstretch.
Thoroughbred racing from the Meadowlands, the realization of a dream tonight at midnight.
Subscribe to the Sporting News. You get 55 issues delivered to your mailbox for 4 payments of only $7.50. Call now 1-800-848-3200. That's 1-800-848-3200. The Sporting News.
Big Ten football on MSG, Michigan State, Michigan, Saturday at noon.
Here's the third quarter statistics. St. John's, keep in mind, is averaging 312 yards per game and Pace 273.
And if you turned on the set and you thought, whoa, maybe that's the end of the first quarter, no, it's been a defensive struggle, and this rain continues to come down even harder. Tough to grip that football.
St. John's, as we open up the fourth, second down and 6 for their own 35. Scott Szczesny in there at quarterback, rolls left, keeps it, has some running room, first down at the 40, and Szczesny up to the 48, a terrific fake by Scott Szczesny. Cliff Turks came up to make the tackle for the Pace Centers with some help from Peter Frank.
And we got to give credit there to Bob Dunlop and Joe O'Connell, number 68 and number 67. Watch these two guys throw a block there. It just springs Cesny just enough, and he's able to get by. What a fake. He held the ball on his hip and bootlegged out to the left. There's going to be an additional 5 tacked on for grabbing the face mask. And it moves the football to the Pace 47. First and 10 Redmen. Bruce, it's imperative to protect the football because it looks like the next score is going to be the one that wins it here. And turnovers, both these teams susceptible to turnovers. Twins to the right. Hand off. Teo fumbles the football. And Teo might have gotten it back. It looked like Pace had a good chance to get on the ball. Eric Williams was around the football, as was T.J. Malmstock, but Teo gets it back. St. John's very lucky here. Teo just stripped, and has the ball punched right out of his hands. But Dirks just able to swipe it free, but Teo falls on the football. Second down and 9. Those were some nervous moments for St. John's fans. Now out of the shotgun with an up back. Cesny setting up the screen. Goes to Cosenza. Cosenza is to the 45. Breaks a tackle at the 40. He's got a first down at the 34-yard line of Pace University. And the Redmen's drive continues. Does that tell you how tough a John Cosenza is? One of the tackles that he shook, the first tackle that he shook, was from a man named Mr. McKenna, Dan McKenna, who's known to make a few tackles in his time. A fine screen that time by Cesny. Cosenza actually outran his blocking, but he just shakes free of McKenna. And that's no easy task and bounces off yet another tackle. Cosenza, who missed most of the 86 season with a broken leg, came back last year, played quarterback, fullback, and defensive back. This year is the fullback. Hand off, Cosenza gets a couple of yards. Tackle made by Eric Williams. It brings up a second down and 9 for the Redmen. 13:20 to go. Fourth quarter of play. St. John's 3, Pace 3. Well, they've used Cosenza to run the football often here in the second half, and I'm still waiting to see to use that option pass because he can throw the football and he's wearing gloves, giving him a little bit better grip. Out of the shotgun. Cesny with time. Fires it incomplete, almost intercepted by John Jordan, and a flag is down on the play. Cesny looked to his right quickly, threw his left. And it may be another face mask call against Pace University as Larry Kukaka sorts things out. Personal foul, grabbing the face mask against Pace. Tough time for that penalty. Might have been on Jordan as he tried to shake a blocker along that outside. Before he reached up and knocked that ball away, he tried to get rid of a blocker, and he may have inadvertently grabbed the man in the face mask. Obviously, it's not inadvertently because they're tacking off a large chunk of yardage. That's 15. It's a big one. First down, Redmen at the 19-yard line of Pace. In this driving rain at Redmond Field, St. John's with a golden opportunity to go ahead. Split back to the Redmen. Cesny, quick drop, lofty for McDermott, incomplete. Back there in coverage was Mike Watuzik. Brings up a second and 10. And those guys have done a fine job all day. That's a play that they like to run, a timing pattern along the left side because Cesny is a left-handed quarterback. It's easier to throw that way. And he just loops it into the end zone, and they just want McDermott to run under the football, get open, lull the defense asleep. But Pace did their homework during the week, and they have covered him all evening. And they're covering him with 2 players. Peter Frank has done a fine job helping out, playing that center field job, coming over and double teaming. And St. John's wants to talk things over now. So the Redmen spell one of their 3 timeouts with 12:49 to go in this fourth quarter of play. We're tied at 3. We'll come back to Redmond Field in just a moment.
The greatest city in the world. What better place for a university? A university with a distinguished alumni, which includes the governors of New York and California. A university
used 2 timeouts in the second half. They have only 1 remaining. Pace has all 3 left.
Hate to burn timeouts in a close game with still over 13 minutes to go in the game.
Second down and 10, St. John's, 19-yard line of Pace. In motion goes Thompson. Chesney rolls out. Has some running room. Chesney keeps it. He's at the 15, and he's down at the 13. He fumbles the ball. Did Pace get it inbounds? Yes, they did. Pace takes over on the turnover. And Peter Frank hopped on the ball for Pace. Cliff Dirks was involved in knocking that ball free.
Chesney with the fast feet turns over the football as St. John's was on a drive looking to go ahead, and we talked about the turnover and how key it can be in this game with such little offense. He runs to his right, and the ball is just popped loose once again. Cliff Dirks was the guy who knocked it away. Dirks knocked the football away from Chesney, and there's Frank just pouncing on the football.
It was close to the sideline. Pace takes over, first down, Sweeney to the outside, nothing doing, flag down on the play. Scacinoci made the stop for St. John's. There's Chesney, he's a little disenchanted with that last play. Redmond committed their 3rd turnover of the game. Look at that, the guys that come over to comfort the QB are the ends. Thompson's over there, and then coming over is Kadesh. You got to pick up your quarterback. He doesn't have time to worry about what happened because he's still got plenty of time to go.
Bob Ricka just shaking his head, trying to solve his defense. We're going to have a holding call against Pace, which was declined.
This is going to be interesting. Instead of having Pace way back there, I think Bob Ricka wants it down. Here's the call. It is refused.
Penalty decline.
Loss of about 2 or 3 yards. Chesney along the near sideline. George Mayer checking things out. He might be pleased. The last thing you want to do is be closer to your own goal line.
Single set back behind Stagliano. He sends twins to the right and a split out to the left. That's Patrick Dean. Hand off to Capra. He gets past the original line of scrimmage and maybe a couple more yards. Cunningham made the tackle. Capra carrying the football for 17 times in this game for 34 yards. He's going to be wet and sore tomorrow.
Definitely. You know, Pace had done a good job running the football, Bruce, on their last series, but I'm surprised they're running to their left. They've been effective running to their right.
Twins to the right this time, Hanson and Scott. Right, left, Dean. 3rd and long for the setters. Stagliano rolling, and he is bottled up at the 15-yard line by Harry Blair with a little help from Frank Pulowski. And it brings on Dan Issa, and he has been a busy customer.
Very busy. You know, Blair is having a quiet but very effective night. Just shakes off Piers, and that's not an easy guy to shake a block off of. He just stays with Stagliano. And Blair is having a fine night. Putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback.
10th punt of the game for Dan Issa, the junior from Yonkers, New York. Back deep is Teo for the Redmen. Short punt, but it takes a Pace roll and will finally roll dead at the 47. So St. John's still with good field position and plenty of clock. 10:50 to go in this 4th quarter of play.
Let's see if Bob Ricka will stick with that same philosophy that he used on the last series. Let's try to run the football and let's use Chesney to run it.
At this time, we'd like to thank the staffs of these 2 fine schools for their assistance with today's telecast. For Pace, Athletic Director Chris Bloodstow, Head Football Coach George Mayer, and Sports Information Director John Balka. For St. John's, AD Jack Kaiser, Head Football Coach Bob Ricka, and Sports Information Director Katha Quinn, and Assistants Frank Raccanello. And also, help to the entire St. John's Sports Information staff, Lance Pugmire. Dirks in on the stop of Cosenza. Pickup of maybe a yard on the play.
I wonder if Cliff Dirks was in the huddle that time with St. John's. He came up showing a blitz formation, and what he did was he just snuffed out that running play. Was sure that they weren't going to the air. St. John's has been running on first down throughout most of this game, not their usual offensive set.
2nd and 9, Redmen. Out of the eye. Chesney takes the handoff to Teo, keeps it, and looses the football. It's still loose on the ground. And we'll wait for the players to unfold.
Looked like Carl Glazer, number 52, put a big hit on Scott Cesny, running up the field, and Metterman just knocked that football out. Cesny tucks it on his leg, and he's going to roll to his right on the play action. Watch number 52 coming across the screen, Glazer, and he just hits him hard, hits him right in the football, and then Glazer scoops the ball under, couldn't get it. And St. John's had their chance to pick it up, but they didn't.
And it's Pace football. And coming up with the ball, Eric Williams, it looked like. So now Pace with their chance with 10:04 to go in great field position.
Fourth turnover by the Redmen. They had 7 last week.
Stagliano back in business. Hand off to Sweeney. Good running room. Sweeney gets 5 yards on the play. Majewski and Dunnigan on the stop.
For a guy with a bad rib, he looks very effective here in this third quarter. Did not play in the first half. That time he ran behind the center, Jim Laneri. It was a question mark coming in, then he cut it to his left.
Chris Livingston checking into that lineup as an extra tight end for Pace. He's 6'6", 300 pounds. Hand off Sweeney. First down and more. Sweeney near the 42-yard line of St. John's.
And the Redmen were looking like they were waiting for a whistle to blow. And they kind of just laid off Sweeney. And the fans that came from Pace, those 2 busloads that we're talking about, are really getting behind their football team right now. And with the turnover, Pace is feeling that extra spark. Sweeney just fights his way through and continues with the leg drop. They teach backs to keep the legs churning, and that's what he does as he lunges forward.
First and 10. Sweeney. 3 or 4 more yards. Harry Blair on the bottom of that pile. Rich Colangelo there. And Pete Majewski there.
Bruce, what an inspired effort by Mr. Sweeney. We talked about the bad ribs coming in. He watched a film of Newt Rockne the other day to inspire him. He said he had to get psyched. He watched the film and he said, hey, I'm hurt, but I'm going to go in and play anyway.
I saw him at practice yesterday. He looked really hurt. He didn't practice at all. Didn't think there was much of a chance he would play, but here he is. And here's Sweeney on the pitchback. Sweeney turns the corner, bounces off one tackler and gets to the 36-yard line. And a flag is down. It might be a late hit against the Redmen in, of all places, right in front of the Pace pitch.
Nice lead block by number 21, Rich Andrzejewski. He just kind of rolls down on the play, and he's able to spring Sweeney as he cuts to his left side. There's a personal foul. Sweeney's lined up in the I formation. Watch the back, number 21. Nice roll block there. Sweeney gets to the outside, does not shift the football like he'd like. But he's hit by knees, and he spins off the tackler, and then coming in late to hit him was Mike Cunningham. A bad play that time by Cunningham.
So they tack on 15 more yards, and it's down to the 21. Automatic first down Pace. 8:28 to go. 3-3 tie, fourth quarter. Stagliano hands to Sweeney, and he gets a couple of yards on the play. Kevin Holland in the stop. Holland switched his uniform number from 13 to 20 in the second half. Still the same ball player, still aggressive.
Mike Cunningham once again, almost with a late hit that time, he came diving over the pack as Sweeney was being dragged down, and they were lucky there wasn't another penalty against the Redmen.
Second down and 7 off the 3-yard pickup. At the 18 of St. John's. Here's Sweeney. Cuts inside. He's at the 15. He's at the 10. He has a first down at the 9-yard line. As Pace turns it up on the ground. Steve Neves made the stop. Sweeney really sucking it up and showing lots of heart here in the second half.
Andrzejewski, number 21, another nice block here, able to spring Sweeney. Sweeney cut it back on the inside, and maybe George Mayer should show the Newt Rockne films to his entire team.
10 carries, 40 yards for Sweeney. First and goal at the 9. Sweeney again, and Blair stops him cold. Loss of a yard on the play. Harry Blair, very active, 6'1" senior from Garden City, New York. .7:14, clock ticking. Fourth quarter. Pace's deepest penetration of a football game. Their only points have come on a 30-yard field goal by Jim Sullivan.
See if they put it up here, Bruce. They have one-on-one coverage on the right side.
Handoff with a counter play. Andrzejewski, touchdown, Pace. And the Senators go up by a score of 9-3.
Perfect execution that time. I mean, they were giving the ball to Sweeney on the entire drive, and they faked the pitch on the right side to Sweeney. They just give it to Andrzejewski. He steps up, and look who's the lead blocker there. Brian Pierce, number 77. Andrzejewski does the rest and gets in for 6.
So Rich Andrzejewski, senior, St. Joseph's High School, Monroe, Connecticut, gets the game's first TD. And Jim Sullivan will try the point after touchdown. Ball placed down, the kick is up. And the kick is good. So with 6:54 left in the ball game, Pace has taken the lead by a score of 10-3. We'll be back after these messages.
Rolex and your
on the touchdown run of 11 yards by Rich Andrzejewski. 10-3 Pace with 6:54 to play.
And a great offensive series that time, Bruce. I mean, they were running the football, and they were using Doug Sweeney, a man who was questionable, if not doubtful, coming in today. Did not play in the first half. He has bad ribs. But a very diversified running game and a lot of good blocks.
We'll be selecting the Apple Bank players of the game. One from each club late in this contest. Still a lot of time remaining. And now it really will fall on the shoulders of Scott Cesny, who hasn't been able to mount a passing attack all night. If he has to start out deep at his own end and muster some yardage, he's going to have to put it up. Kevin Holland is back deep for the Redmond of St. John's, along with Kevin Conway and Julio Teo. Jim Sullivan. No, it's Esau. He'll kick off. Short kick, 21-yard line. And up to the 37. Pretty good return by Kevin Conway. And the Redmen will have decent field position to start, down by a score of 10-3.
Pressure on Scott Cesny and McDermott and company. They have not been able to get it going and get in for a score. Now, they have moved the football effectively on their last couple of possessions. Some good running by Cesny, but they're not able to get it in for a score. And you know they have to feel the pressure. They've turned the football over 4 times today.
Don Cadeas wide to the right. McDermott, close left. Cesny in first down. Back to throw. Deflected across the middle. Incomplete. Intended for Don Cadeas, who gave it a good effort despite the deflected pass. John Hankey was all over him.
Eric Williams, it appears, got his big hand up and knocked that football away. As Cesny was throwing the football, number 95. Watch him stick up his arm as he throws and just deflects it a bit. That enabled the pass to not get to the receiver the way it was designed. Nice play by Williams.
Second down and 10 for the Red. Draw play. Teo gets to the 40, maybe 3. McKenna made the stop. And that defense is inspired now for the Pace setters.
It's a tough play to run against Pace, is that draw, because Dan McKenna is so effective as a middle linebacker and plays the position according to the textbook, and he does not go for the influence, and he stays home, and that's exactly what he did there.
Big third down for Scott Cesny. He has time. Throws across the middle. It's complete to Teo, but he is tackled in the open field and goes down. Pat Fawcett made the one-on-one stop from his linebacker position, and it brings up a 4th down and long.
Cesny throwing underneath. Good coverage once again in the secondary. He has to dump it off to the safety valve, and what a play by Fawcett. A great open field tackle there. And a player is injured on the field.
That is Eric Williams, number 95, the 5'10 senior from New Rochelle, New York, who is on the turf and being attended to.
Williams batted away a pass, and he appeared to recover that fumble that led to the Pace score. And we hope he's okay. He's banging his hand on the turf. Chesney is just 4 for 16 in the football game for 21 yards. And McDermott has been shut out, and that has been a big story. He's been double-teamed all night. So we hope that the injury to Williams is not severe. He's had trouble with the left leg before. Being helped up now. And he will be helped off the gridiron. Chesney has really had his troubles now the last 2 weeks. He had a couple of big plays against Fordham, but all in all, he was not able to move the St. John's offense. And today, yes, there is bad weather, but Pace has gotten their act together after the halftime, and they've been able to move the football, and Chesney has really struggled. But give credit to that defense of the Setters. 4th down, Anthony Tricario into punt. Back deep is Mark Hansen. Hansen will get it at the 23. Hansen to the 30. Stutter step move gets to the 32-yard line. And the tackle is made by Mike Robinson. And there's a flag down on the play. And shaken up on the play is Hansen. And we have an illegal block against the Setters on the return. So, Bob, if you're Pace right now, I guess the thing you'd like to do most is try to continue that rushing attack and eat some clock. And if you're St. John's, you've got to try to get the football back and then hopefully hold them and see if Chesney can move the clock. With the score, Pace 10, St. John's 3, and 5:41 left in the football game, let's take time out.
I wonder if I can get a combo.
Bob Papa back at rainy Redmond Field as it continues to come down. St. John's trailing 10-3. 4th quarter of play. Pace with the football on a 1st down. Doug Sweeney gets 3 hard yards. Tackle made by Pete Majewski, and he's going to be easily around 14, 15 tackles in this ball game. If you're Pace, you don't want to become too conservative with the football. You want to move the chains. You want to stay away from that turnover. And Doug Sweeney has really come in and given that offense a spark running the football. Sweeney is the tail. Wideouts both sides of the field for Stagliano. Sweeney with the handoff. Sweeney with some running room. 1st down, and Sweeney powers up to the 33-yard line. And that's exactly what Coach George Meyer wants. He wants the team to control the ball and control the clock. And just number 77, John Piers, the right tackle, just blows people away, and it just enables Sweeney to break it right up the field. When you have holes like that to run through, you can get big yards. Sweeney hanging on to that football in difficult conditions. 1st and 10 Pace. Sweeney with 56 yards of the second half. Here's Sweeney again. Sweeney gets 6 or 7, and he's still moving. 4 or 5 red jerseys pulling him down. The ball is stripped away. I don't know if they will count as a fumble or if he was down. His forward motion stopped. And John says yes, but we'll wait for the officials. St. John taps the football at the 41. Somehow under that pile, the Redmond came up with the ball. They pulled it out of his hand. Let's see if we can pick it up. Sometimes when you fight for extra yards, it just gets you in trouble. Sweeney right there is hit hard, and it's just stripped away by Matt Grimaldi. And then the ball's loose, and Grimaldi came up with the football as well. So St. John's with a break at the 4:33 mark of the 4th quarter of play. St. John's trailing 10-3. In motion, Kadej. Chesney rolls. Chesney looks, he throws, it's caught by McDermott, and he caught it out of bounds, so it's an incompleted pass. That time, Szczesny was so preoccupied with his rollout that he didn't look upfield. McDermott cut his pattern short just a bit and turned it out a little bit early. And he was running toward the sideline, waiting for the ball to be delivered, but Szczesny waited too long, and by that time, McDermott was out of bounds. So Szczesny is only 4 for 17 in the football game for 21 yards. And McDermott still shut out. Second down and 10, Redmond at the 41 of Pace. In motion goes Motherway. Szczesny rolling again. Szczesny will keep it. He will take a wicked hit at the 38-yard line. The pop made by Carl Glazier. And it brings up a third down and about 7. Well, guys like John Henke and Cliff Dirks are just having an unbelievable evening. Those guys in the secondary are playing their positions exactly the way you'd see it in a football textbook. They're keeping their receivers in front of them, but they're also covering them quite effectively, and Szczesny just has nobody to throw to. Szczesny has carried the ball 13 times for 48 yards in the football game. And this is a tough 3rd and 7 for the Redmen. In motion goes Bobby Thompson. Szczesny rolling. In trouble. He fires, it's incomplete. And it will bring up a 4th down and 8 as Don Dignan had Szczesny wrapped up. And he appeared to be in the grasp. Szczesny just trying, rolling out to his right. They fake the counter to Teo on the inside. And Szczesny just not able to get on track today. Of course, there's no formal in the grasp in college the way there is in the pros, and so the officials let him go. And on 4th down, trailing 10-3 with 4:14 to go, St. John's has no choice but to go for it. But this defensive pace has been tough. Szczesny to throw. Fires. Incomplete. Pace takes over on down. So the Senators yielding little yardage here in the second half to the Redmen. And now once again, starting out their own 37, they would like to control the football and eat some of the clock. Pace has turned the football over 3 times, St. John's 4 times, and George Mayer saying, guys, just hold on to the football and protect it with both arms when you're running through that line of scrimmage, and don't fight so hard for extra yardage. When you're hit and you feel pressure, just go down. On 1st and 10, the handoff is to Sweeney. He gets very little. Colangelo up to make the pop with the help from Pulowski. And Bruce, you know, St. John's only has 1 timeout left. They burned 2 already, so they can't even stop the clock as it continues to tick. 3:49 and counting left in this football game. Pace with the 11-yard touchdown run by Rich Andrzejewski here in the 4th quarter, and that's the big margin right now. Hand off to Andrzejewski. He gets maybe a yard up to a 40, and it brings up the 3rd down and about 8. So St. John's defense is yielding very little, but the offense on the other side is just not doing anything. And Pace needed to, though, they put together that big drive on the ground. We expected a lot of passing, a lot of effective passing. The rain kind of hampered that, but Doug Sweeney came in and gave that ground game a start. Pace with 3 timeouts left, St. John's with 1. 3rd down and 8. Here's Sweeney. Turns upfield, gets to the 42. A pick of a 3 on the play, so Sweeney is now at 69 yards in the game on 19 carries. And on 4th down, Pace will have to punt it away. 2:39 to go. That time Sweeney did not get the good lead block that would enable him to cut it inside and turn it upfield. Do you try to block the punt here, Bob? Take a shot? 11th punt of the game. And where's that Issa? They've lined up that way. Normally they have 2 or 3 men back. Low snap. Issa gets it off. Second time tonight on a bounce. He's gotten off the punt. And good gang tackling at the 29-yard line. And Cruz fumbled the football. Cruz almost coughed it up. It was recovered by another St. John's player. He did cough that football up. Went off his chest. So St. John's has a long way to go.
71 yards, trailing 10-3 with 2 minutes and 11 seconds left in the ball game.
And only one timeout, so the pass patterns will have to be to the sidelines, and that's where the field is at its slickest. The water tends to gather along the sidelines. This field does have a crown to it.
Szczesny rolling out on first down. Looks, fires for McDermott. It's incomplete. McDermott well covered. Back there was Peter Frank and Mike Watuzik and Cliff Dirks. 3 players around McDermott.
And those guys have been there all night long. You're right about that. They have followed McDermott stride for stride. You know, George Mayer talked about it during the week. He said, listen, we can take care of McDermott because the guys on post has 2 excellent wide receivers. He said, hey, we covered them pretty good.
Second down and 10. Szczesny from the shotgun. He fires across the middle. There's McDermott for a first down. He's down at the 47-yard line. His first reception of the night. They'll move the chains up. 1 minute, 55 seconds left in the football game, and St. John's down by 7 trying to move it.
Well, Pace's defense softened up a little bit there. St. John's trying to move the football, and you don't want St. John's to move the football downfield at the expense of using up the clock.
Szczesny, quick drop, 3-step drop, throws incomplete, intended for Kadeish.
Remember, prevent defense prevents teams from winning when they have the lead. We've seen it so many times before. You soften up in that coverage in the defensive backfield, and the team is able to move the ball downfield underneath, cutting backs underneath, and you're apt to have a big play broken.
The injured player on the field is right tackle James Libretti, and he is being attended to. While we have the opportunity up here in the booth, we want to thank our spotters, John Balcom and Michael Booty, and also help on stats tonight, John Lombardo, Laurel Miller, and Chris Schlepp. And also up here in the booth, Don DeJulia Jr. Thanks to all, and congratulations to the crew outside in the rain for a job well done under some tough conditions. There's the story, 10-3 with 1:48 to go in the fourth.
You have to give some credit to Robert Aldevar. He is the secondary coach for the Pace Setters. I mean, they were prepared.
The coordinating producer of Liberty Conference football is Tom McElroy. Tonight's game has been produced by Paul Carlson and directed by Michael Sheehan. Remote production facilities have been supplied by New Century Productions, Allentown, Pennsylvania. It is 2nd and 10 for St. John's with 1:48 to go in the football game. The Redmond trail 10-3. Szczesny rolls out. Szczesny keeps it. He's across the 50 and out of bounds wisely at the 46-yard line of Pace. A pickup of about 6 yards.
Surprised someone on Pace didn't try to hustle up a little bit quicker and put a good knock on Szczesny, try to keep him in bounds because, as we mentioned, St. John's is short timeouts.
Third down and 4. 1:40 to play. Szczesny rolls out. He throws. It's caught for a first down by Bobby Thompson. He's down to the 37-yard line of Pace. Pat Fawcett made the stop. And so the Redmen's drive continues with 1:32 to play. And they'll move the chains up.
And that stops the clock. When you get that first down or wait until the chains are moved, that gives the offensive time to set up. And although Szczesny has had a bad game and a half, he's still dangerous.
Quick drop, Szczesny. Fires complete, caught by Motherway, and he goes out of bounds quickly at the 33. Those are the kind of plays you'd like right now. Get some yards, get out of bounds, don't eat much of a clock, rather than those running plays.
And I'm surprised that Pace is giving them the sidelines. Normally you'll get your corners up and you'll have them angle their bodies with their backs to the sideline, force the receivers to go to the inside, keep them in the middle of the field.
It continues to pour heavily in this first night game ever at St. John's. Second down and 7 for the Redmen. Szczesny looking, firing to Cosenza. He's out there, he has it. First down, St. John's at the 18-yard line with 1:18 to go.
And Bruce, that's the first bad play I've seen Dan McKenna make tonight. McKenna kind of gave up on that football. Szczesny lofted it up to the left, and McKenna gave up on it. Cosenza made the catch.
At the 18, it's 1st and 10, clock moving, 1:15 to go. And Chesney just throws it out of bounds on purpose.
Obviously, a field goal does St. John's no good here. They trail by 7 points. It's 10-3. They have to get in the end zone for pay dirt. They need 6. And they've had trouble when they've gotten inside the zone, when they've gotten around the 20-yard line tonight. And in the first quarter, they had some chances. They weren't able to punch it in. They've either turned it over or made some critical mistakes as far as the offensive line is concerned. And Pace has gotten good pressure on Chesney when they needed to.
From the 19, second down and 10. Chesney from the shotgun. Rolling. In trouble. Throws it out of bounds. Good play by Chesney. It'll bring up a 3rd and 10. Cliff Dirks on the pressure, and there's what we talked about. He came storming right up the middle from his linebacker position. That's what you have to do to Chesney. It continues to absolutely pour. But St. John's is moving the football down 10-3 with 66 seconds to play. McDermott's the big man that Chesney looks to. Chesney back to throw. Fires across the middle. McDermott has it at the 5. First down Redmond at the 5-yard line. Tackled by Watuzik. 58 seconds to go. First and goal Redmond. And McDermott with his second catch of the day ran an absolutely gorgeous post pattern.
And St. John's takes a timeout. Chesney comes to the near sideline to talk with head coach Bob Ricca. And what a drive they have put together. And the pressure wasn't there for Pace. I mean, they did not put pressure on Chesney as they had. The offensive line of St. John's sucked it up a bit. They tightened up, and the secondary softened up just a little bit. They started giving St. John's the out patterns, and that groove that we talked about finally coming forward for St. John's between Chesney and McDermott.
So Coach Bob Ricca and assistant coach Dutch Outerkirk calling the play from the sidelines along with Scott Chesney. St. John's has moved the ball 57 yards in 11 plays, trailing 10-3, and now they've marched down to the 5. They have spelled their last time out. It is first and goal. And Coach George Mayer can only look on from the sidelines and keep his defense fired up.
And they appear to be a down bunch right now. It appeared that they had this game locked up. They were playing fine football, but St. John's, no quitting this team.
McDermott left, Motherway right. In motion, Thompson. Chesney rolling, in trouble. Still rolling, fumbles the football, and Pace pounces on it at the 19-yard line, and that should be the ball game. Big John Jordan coming up with a big play along with Don Dignan, and Pace has taken over on the fumble at their own 19.
Well, that's when Pace was at their most successful tonight, when they got pressure on Chesney, and the pressure had not been there on this last drive, but they turn it up a notch here. George Mayer obviously happy on the far sideline. He's saying, hey, let's not turn over the football ourselves. Chesney rolling out. He was looking for McDermott, but McDermott was well covered now, just running for his life, and he just lost control of the football as he tried to spin away from the tackle of Dignan.
And now Pace can just run out the clock with 45 seconds to go. That is the 5th turnover on the Redmen, and that proved to be 1 too many. After St. John's had moved the football very well in difficult conditions, rain continued to pour, but at the 5-yard line they made the critical error.
Chesney's second fumble in a critical territory. St. John's had the ball deep in Pace territory earlier, and he coughed it up.
Pace will run off maybe one more play, and that should do it. As the Centers have improved on the season now to 3-3. This will be their first Liberty Conference win of the year. 1-2 in conference. The Redmond of St. John's will now drop to 2-3 overall and 2-2 in the conference, and that is it. So quarterback Scott Chesney, who marched his club down to the 5 and then lost the football, feeling it right now.
And it's been a tough 2 weeks for Chesney. Roughed up by the Fordham Rams last week, And now this week, Pace really put the stranglehold on him, not enabling him to get his men open.
Well, that's the final score now, 10-3. Pace over St. John's. We'll be back with some post-game comments after these messages.
G40.
Yard run at 8:06 of the fourth quarter. St. John's moved the ball well down to the 5-yard line, but could not get it in after Scott Cesny fumbled the football. Our Applebank players of the game, what a terrific story Doug Sweeney was. He had bruised ribs. He did not play until the second half. He came into the football game and gained 66 yards and 19 carries. And for the Redmond of St. John's, Pete Majewski, the junior from East Meadow, New York, who was in on about 17 tackles. He was all over the football field, and he led the St. John's defense all night long. But the story of the game, Bob Papa, was that one big drive by Pace in the fourth quarter with Sweeney getting the ball almost exclusively. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's Andrzejewski who gets the ball.
Well, Andrzejewski was throwing the good blocks. They influence a fake to Sweeney on the right side. Andrzejewski just cuts to his left, and once again, Piers with another great block to lead the way for Andrzejewski.
It was an 8-play, 54-yard drive, and after a lot of time, 52 minutes almost, we finally got a touchdown, and that touchdown held up for the Pace Setters as they improved their record to 1-2 in conference play, while St. John's dropped to 2-2 in conference play. We'll take a short break. We'll come back with our wrap-up. The Pace Setters over the St. John's Redmond by a score of 10-3 in Liberty Conference football action.
I wonder